Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Zwift Community Live broadcast of the Zwift Classics, the Apple Lap. We are on race number 2, and it is the Everything Bagel this year for the Apple Lap. Out in 100 years in the future, New York. Nathan Guerra, Dave Toll next to me, and we are in for a whole lot of climbing, reverse KOM, reverse sprint, and then forward KOM, forward sprint, and a whole lot of bumpy Central Park. They're jumping onto the glass roads right now in the men's C1s for the Eastern Europe. We're going to be covering Eastern, Central, and Western, Dave. Lots of racing in New York today for us.
Yeah, I'm just jumping back in with the men as I was reviewing that women's field. We've got a lot of exciting racing ahead of us. Nathan, I don't know about you, but when you get a bagel, I always go with the everything with the cream cheese smear. So I think we're in good shape today. This is going to be a really...
Okay. Everything with herb garlic, though. It's I also get the herb garlic cream cheese on top of that, dude. Maybe an egg and some ham. Okay, now you got me at Brugger's down the road instead of in the race.
It's funny because we finally agree on food. It's about time. That pizza with pineapple thing really shook up the Zwift Community Live Nation.
I mean, you know, you kind of just crossed some boundaries there, I think, Dave. So.
I know. I apologize. That's why I wanted to get back on good ground with you. So, hey, Nathan, this is a course that you would love to race on, I'm sure. It's challenging. It's not just a one rhythmic climb. It just comes at you staccato. You got to stay on top of your game. It's going to be aggressive. It's 34K out here. I wanted to give a shout out to Charlie. Charlie's birthday was just the other day. So at this point, he's got to be over 30, right? I know he is because Charlie was part of a racing revolution that happened out of New York. There was a team called GS Mangoni that Charlie was on that had just about every top American. Steve Bauer, who wore the yellow jersey in the Tour de France, and was on the podium at Paris-Roubaix, one of the great Olympic medalists, rode for that team. So there is so much history in New York. I know when we were talking about Central Park, Nathan, we had the Dave Jordan Classic that was really fun to watch. Well, again, there's a lot of fabric of the cycling community is all here in New York. So this course is one of the most complicated that I have ever seen, and it's fitting as this would be what New York is all about. It is bananas what is going on out here. Nathan, you want to help me out a little bit here? Obviously 34K with a significant 545 meters of climbing, but this one goes up, down, left, right, center. You're never really going anywhere flat and straight.
Yeah, and as they get into it immediately, you know, right from the get-go, the forward KOM does come at the riders, as you can see here. So Highwell Davies is jumping right on it. We're going to jump right down into the action. And, yeah, so it is reverse KOM. And the riders, they left the start pens and headed straight down into a very short jaunt of Central Park and then right onto the glass roads and then immediately into the reverse KOM. Highwell Davies is going to be the man to be watching out for here. Chudik is right on his wheel as well. But I did a review, one of these course previews, as well as historic moments with Zwift Race Knowledge on the World of Zwift this past week. And this course is all about whittling things down over and over again. I actually have raced on this course quite a few times. I raced on it in the Tour de Oz that was actually broadcast over on Zwift Live with Matthew Keenan and Kate Bates, actually. I was one of the guest riders on there, and this course is won almost always the exact same way. Two ways that it happens. It's either a downhill sprint with a small pack left, or a breakaway in the last 5K or so because of how much attrition takes place. So it's all about really whittling things down on this course to get a smaller pack that you can break away from on the later parts of the course. A lot of times people think, now with a small pack though here, as you can see, we've only got, it looks like about 12, maybe 13 riders left here in and amongst this lead group right now. Boer now going off the back out of South Africa. But, you know, the reality is if you don't find yourself off the back like that and you are in and amongst a group here, it usually will come back because of how much of a steep gradient is on the other side. There are some points up for grabs. It does look like it is going to be Chudik actually taking it down. I thought Davies was going to get away with it, but he's going to be first across the line, probably faster through the segment here. But, you know, very difficult to get away, Dave, because of how incredibly steep and long these descents are. But if you whittle it down, the people who are off the back, they will never see that group again, especially with things like the Anvil with Marino throwing it down for P to Z.
Nathan, very well put. I think it's both ends of the spectrum here. It's going to be a small group that survives here, but it's going to be a group. And I think we're actually seeing that right in front of our eyes. Howell Davies is a monster. When you look at his 20-minute power at 5.6 watts per kilo, only Daniel Jemrosic is really in that neighborhood, the restart rider. Howell riding for Wahoo Lacole here. But Joseph Chudik, a very strong statement being made in the early going here. This is going to be Jorge Moreno, the Spanish rider that we're in with P to Z. This is, let's see, Nathan, is it 7 guys that have made this front group here? Because in all honesty, I realize we're 5K into a 34K race, but this is your selection. I don't expect this group to split too much more over the next 10K, to tell you the truth. I'm just looking, Nathan, to see is anyone really fighting to join, and you can see that gap opening up, and this is gone. This is your front group.
Yeah, we do see Steinman from KC. Anyone in that Kirchmer kit, maybe going to have some big watts to give here.
Give him a chance.
Here, yeah. And then there's also, surprised to see Tony CID here getting dropped off. Very strong rider. The evil rider Balenciaga. And then Mike Schwartz coming out of he's actually right down the road over in Madison. Mike Schwartz coming from Restart. Top athlete here. If they're able to get together and start working, they may calm down at the front end of the race here. If they do calm down,
organize.
It might come back, but Davies is saying no. Howell Davies is just full gas on the front. And they are working together here. Morrison, 6'6" now. And with this much of a break now, this small of riders, they know they can even break those who are here. Talk to that a little bit, Dave. I mean, the reality of less riders, it just gives you more opportunity if you're feeling strong.
100%. So there's a lot of ways that you can look at this, but if I'm in that front group and I realize that the riders won't be able to communicate with each other as in real life, but you just know that you need to keep the pressure on. When you've got a quality rider, like let's use Mike Swart, for example, who is right now like that dog scratching at the back door. You need to not open that door. You need to lock it, because this group does not want to get any larger. And you can see exactly that. Morrison here rolling through the Chang Gang rider. There's a real momentum right now. Hal Davies and Jorge Moreno, Joseph Chudik. There's some strong names. Wibble Wobble. Love that name. Kiss rider. So Wibble Wobble up here now. These guys, Nathan, I really do just keep checking the rearview mirror, right? So, like on a F1 car, you don't really need a rear view mirror because the racing's always in front of you. I think it's the same thing right now for these guys. Might as well be an F1 car because there's no one coming back into this group now. So things get sorted out very, very quickly at this level, but then making that final selection, I'm going to predict today, Nathan, I want to hear your thoughts on this, my friend. I think our winner's alone. I don't think there's any type of a sprint. I have a feeling this aggressive racing here, this group will start attacking itself. It'll happen a couple of times, but that second, so it would be forward KOM for the second time, correct? If I believe I'm right on that.
Yes, would
right.
Be forward
So
KOM.
that's where I think this race is going to be won or lost.
Now, good call out there. Wibble Wobble Racing, and Wibble Wobble is in all orange here. Interesting enough, with an orange headband. This is like the
caveman-y, yeah.
I mean, this is the Anna Russell fanboy, though. I mean, he's got the headband. It's all orange.
Oh, he's pandering to Russell right now. Clearly, yeah.
And all set up orange Tron on top of that. Now, lately though, Anna's been all about not riding the Tron, which has been really interesting here. But if you didn't know, this is actually, and I've picked up on it pretty quickly. This is going to be Mr. James Hodges, actually, one of the first the creators of Zwift Power, KISS Racing Team. Very old school as it goes, and always, he's had plenty of nicknames in game here. The cake is a lie was it for quite a long time, actually. So good to see Hodges jumping in and making the front group. I mean, this is no joke of a front group here as he makes his way to the front now, 5'8". Big thanks goes out to him for all things racing in Zwift in the world of esports. Without the work of James Hodges, a lot of this would not exist or being anywhere near where it is at today. So on the front now, putting in some work, 6.4 now and 47K, and he's definitely opening things back up because this was within 14 seconds. They've brought it down from 20 at one point, and the chase is still on from 3 behind here. So this is not over here as we still have Tony CID here trying to pull things back together. Interesting to see the bike that Tony is riding here. Huh.
Yeah. Jan Steinman and Mike Swart, the two other riders. I mean, this is as strong and well organized of a three-rider chase group that you could have. I'm not going to give up on these three for a while here, actually. Very, very impressive job. Boy, this is an exciting race. Way to, as we kick things off here in the second race. Nathan, first off, maybe take just a short breath for a moment. I had a chance to talk with Ted King at the Belgian Waffle Ride. He wanted me to give you a shout out for all the great Zwift Community Live coverage. He's a Tour de France veteran who's one of the most well-known gravel riders out there. And it was really great to hear he was grateful to be part of the Zwift community out racing with his Velocio team. So got a lot of nice feedback to send back to you, my friend.
I really appreciate that. Well, Dad's inside riding trainers now with Ted. I know that.
He can relate.
So he can relate. He can relate. That's for sure. I wanted to jump over real quickly here, Dave, the women's side of things, just to point out here, we do have Marina Arce as well as Shalu here coming from beast mode off the front. They made their way over the top of the first KOM and Queen of the Mountain here. And the reality of it's there is a smaller pack here in amongst the women's crew here. And because of that, two riders able to get off the front in that first climb. Brewer is here as well. Is it going to be Leah this week here? Because I know
they're both
the two
racing.
sisters.
So they're both in our field here, and they're very, very similar in ability level. So no surprise there. But the Fearless Riders, Nathan, absolutely going to be part of the conversation here. So this is Marla Marb that we're looking at as Beast Mode team. Julia Schalau, her teammate. I mean, this is a great team. No doubt about it. Rose Beast Mode out of Germany. Marina Arce, probably their biggest danger woman today of the mighty, mighty Aeonian squad. But Nathan, we identified a massive up-and-coming talent. Alessia Polemi is in this race. And if I don't see her, let's see where Alessia is. She's a professor at Drexel University here in the United States, and I'm not seeing her name. I'm wondering if she took the start. To tell you
I don't think she took the start line today. I think she
must not have.
Have not taken
that happens.
Today. Yes, no live.
No.
Coming in from her. I think she signed up, but then did not get into the race out here today. So sorry to see. Because I did get some messages afterwards. Actually, from last week, they were ecstatic. Herself and her teammates about the coverage and the result that she got out there. So very cool to see.
We'll get her back.
A little bit different here this week, Dave. Last week on Yorkshire, it was definitely the Beast Mode 3 versus Marina and versus Alessia out there. And now, because of the nature of the course, it's much more split apart in the women's race. And you've kind of got this solo Beast Mode versus another rider from another team in both of these situations where it's Meryl here trying to be chased down by Dorer as well. And that is going to be Eva Maria Dorer, actually, from Rose Beast Mode. And then a Meryl here coming out of the Netherlands. I'm going to see if I can find some more information on these riders here. Zwift Power always slowing down around this time of the day. So, but this is the situation in the women's race. Two off the front and within the top 10, all within about a minute of each other. But that's going to continue to open up. Marina Arce actually getting an attack put down on her as Shalu now pushes over the top now of this section of the course.
Look at those numbers coming from the German as Julia going into beast mode right now, but Marina Arce will not bow down. This is going to... So, Nathan, when I was a kid, I always thought mano-a-mano contact meant man-to-man. It does not. It means hand-to-hand or exactly this. Basically, you are right up into it here with Arce, the Argentinian strong woman, really trying to withstand this barrage from the German Julia Schalau of Rose Beast Mode. So very, very active on the front as they're coming into 10. Very nice. Well, I'm glad that Alessia is watching. We were really immediately became big fans of hers, Nathan. So I thank you for bringing that up. And I think it's pretty noteworthy that you do one race on Zwift Community Live, and we already notice you're missing. That tells me that you brought some heat to the race, that's for sure. But I tell you what, these two right now, Arce and Schalau, are having at it. Give Julia Schalau all due respect here. This is one of the strongest riders. And looking forward to season 4, Nathan, of the CRL. She's going to be a massive storyline, or I should say a great storyline to watch.
100%. Now we're going to go ahead and jump on in with the men's side of things as they're about to hit up their first sprint of the day. It will be taking place here in just a moment as they make their way through. And as we can see here, Chudik now Dropping off. Actually, no. This is actually going to be Howell dropping off the back just a tad. I think he's resting
So,
up a little bit here to try and kind of wait
well,
for
you
the
know what he's
moment. He's a
doing?
great sprinter. Look at 111 beats
Yeah,
per
well,
minute. They
he's
have calmed right on down.
Yeah, Nathan, this is some brilliant riding from Hal Davies here. What he did, in my opinion, was drop to the back of the group to get into the sweet spot to surf this sprint. So now that it's about to launch here, he's going to be able to ride through that group and hopefully get a little bit of a launch. As it seems like everybody with $1 billion wants to be in space right now. Well, let's see if we can get Howell up there, as this is going to be wibble wobble. That James Barnes. You're right, Nathan. What a cornerstone of the Zwift community. Excuse me, James Hodges there. I apologize. Hodges in the headband, the orange jersey. Joseph Chiduk here, right up near the front, but it looks like we're already going to go big as this is.
I don't know if he's going to be able to hold on to it. He's got a little bit of a gap here. Marino's actually carrying some of the other riders across. Here comes Howell Davies, though, 13 watts per kilogram. The speed's going to come over the top now. There it is. It is a downhill sprint over the top of this little kicker, and it's gone. 61 kilometers per hour. Tons of speed over the top. Howell's going to take that down. Chuduk might come on through with some speed. Almost.
Oh,
1, 2, 3. 1, 2,
man.
3. That was kind of, so, the speed you can take from the top to bottom there is definitely interesting. How that can play out a lot of times. We'll see if we can get a little bit of a replay on that. It was quite the effort that came on through. And as you can see, coming through there's Howell. Look at how Howell came through over the top with tons of speed. And look at Chuduk, though. From the back, a little bit late. He had the kick, but it was just not timed. He even had an arrow power up as you see him come on through, too. Tons of speed.
Wow.
If he timed that just a little earlier, he would have had that.
No, absolutely, Nathan. That shows you that was just a half second late, and timing is paramount when you're racing at this level. And I was saying that when we were going back and looking at Hal Davies there, he made the right move at the right time, did just enough and nothing extra, which is actually really how you want to do it. This sprint inter-race competition with our sprint, there is another sprint point coming up, and it's a way for us to have some competition within the race. I almost think of it as preems, but a good chance to prove you're sprinting legs. And Morrison now going to try to chase back on Nathan. Looks like getting caught out after all that activity there.
Hodges countered, and the counter, if you've ever been in a crit situation or watching these crits, man, and recently I got a little bit of taste of this, is like you go through a sprint section, and if somebody counters really, really hard and you're already well over the limit, man, you can find yourself so quickly off the back, unable to close anything down, and Hodges just continues to press the pace. He does not want Morrison to come back. Morrison kicking 7 watts per kilogram on this little bit of an uphill grind, though. He may be able to do this. He's within striking distance, 3 seconds. He's got to carry a lot of speed over the top because that pack's going to kind of roll away now on this downhill wobble, though he's got a gap. He's not going to pull anybody around, and Ripmeister there with 3 watts per kilogram is going to shut it down at the front. So Morrison just able to get back on terms. He dropped an anvil at a very odd time. It might have slowed him down a little bit. That's one of the things about the anvil here. It's definitely a huge benefit on this course at certain sections. But because of where the banners come through, sometimes you have to drop it at a horrible time to get a new power-up. So if you don't want the anvil, the next banner is actually on an uphill. You have to drop the anvil on an uphill if you actually want to get maybe a feather for the climb. So it's very tactical about where you get rid of it. So you need to get rid of it right here. If you forget to, shoot, I'm going uphill, but I have to get rid of it.
It's like selling a stock that's plummeting in value. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want this, but I'm afraid to get rid of it.
That's such a great analogy, actually.
So Jorge Moreno is the Spanish flag that you can see in this group, and a rider obviously to watch as we start to take some inventory here, Nathan. These guys continue to press on through the middle part of this race, and we're almost exactly to the middle part distance-wise with 34 kilometers of racing for the men and the women. They got right after it here, and this course, Nathan, if I could, I was talking about the sprint points here. I also wanted to talk about the history, as I saw a post from Charlie Eisendorf talking about the history, kind of how he conceptualized this event. And it's kind of mind-blowing. If you've ever, from everyone around the world, been to New York City, unimaginable that at one point, I believe he said it was late 70s, maybe into the 80s, but I think more likely the 70s, they had a race that went to all 5 boroughs. So that's a good trivia question. Name all 5, but that would be your Manhattan, and Queens, Brooklyn, etc. And it's funny because I'm not sure I know all 5. Staten Island, I'm guessing that'll fire up the Twitter machine for sure. But so that it was about an 80-mile single day race in the classic mode. It sounded like it was absolutely incredible. There've been some attempts like 5 borough rides, marathons, but it's basically undoable in the modern world that we have now. But that's what we were trying to replicate, that vibe out here, and it certainly is working. You get a feel for really what this New York world is all about. And this front group, Nathan, again, it's only a matter of time until they start attacking each other again. But that time's not really right now, although you can see we're seeing little gaps opening up. They never play back. They never back down up here. And is that going to be Hodges?
Yeah,
James Hodges.
He's always one of these dropped uphill with Anvil. There it is. Rip Meester did exactly what we were talking about here. But this section, of course, pay attention here. This is in the opposite direction. Right here is the 1K to go banner. And this little bit of an uphill grind and then into the downhill, heading on toward Harlem, is going to be where, in just a moment, they'll be climbing onto the glass roads again. There'll be a long stretch into the forward KOM. But in the opposite direction, remember this section of course. We've got the reservoir on our left-hand side. When you see that reservoir again in the opposite direction with this uphill climb, it's a section of course where I've seen the race won 3 different times in history, actually. Caroline Williams from Heino won here. Zach Neer breaking away with Trekkie, coming out in the Tour de Oz. There was another situation, it's very, very similar to this as well. Over and over again, we've seen this section of course play out 3 different times at high level racing, actually. So be on the watch out for that. This last 5K actually from that other the forward sprint, that is really where this race a lot of times is won. Now, with the reality though of only we're seeing 7 riders left here, there's a lot more opportunity though between now and the end of the race. The forward KOM could actually also be decisive because you don't get as much of a snowball effect from a pack like this. So no, they don't have to wait till that section, but remember that section, of course, because it's so incredibly key to this race.
There's really not many times that you would say a course favors the breakaway, Nathan, and I don't know that I would even say that's true here about favoring the breakaway, but if you're that type of rider I think that this is your day, to be honest. You've got a lot to work with here. And at this point now, Nathan, talk about pack dynamics. This is barely qualifies as a pack, what we're looking at here. I mean, yeah, there definitely is a huge advantage being in a group like this that's working together. I completely understand that. But by the time you attack out of this group, they're down to 6 riders. If only 2 or 3 of those riders are working, it's a lot different than having a 30-rider group behind you.
100%. And a little similar within the women's race here real quickly. We're going to jump on over. They make their way through the
I'm afraid. Yeah.
banner here. And Marina Arce is keeping her within 16 seconds, actually. It's just been sitting at that 16 seconds for quite a long time. Arce now kicking about the 4.4 watts per kilometer. It'll go out a little bit on the climb here, but as she does push this 4.8 or so, it most likely will come back down just a tad as it does level out, but it does look like Beast Mode are starting to walk away a little bit with this one. 56 seconds back, 3 riders behind here. They might start working together, and the Onion rider might have to start looking behind her, but at 4.0 or so, I think she's just on another level on a course that's this difficult. Probably will not be seen again.
Yeah, and you know what, Nathan? A lot of times I'd say, well, you look behind you and you don't want to see anyone, but in this case, you'd like to see a couple strong riders that wanted to work together to go up and get Julia, but that does not look like it's happening, to tell you the truth. One of these riders is going to be Marla Marb here, another German on that Rose Beast Mode team, as we're so Julia Schalau, again, a command performance going on in the women's race. We'll check back in and see how Marina Arce is doing. But right now, let's set that at about a 20-second gap back in with James Hodges here.
Yeah, attacking. It is a little bit of a climb. It's not an official KOM or anything like that. It's not a marked climb, but it is definitely, as you can see in the upper right-hand corner here, as you look at this course profile, to get onto these glass roads this time around, very much of a 2-tier, good punch in the teeth here. 8% gradient right now for quite a long time. not holding back. And Howell here struggling on the back, 6.6. Actually, 157. He may just be sitting on the back, saving some matches, perhaps here at 554 watts or so. And
honestly, Nathan, I think you're looking at a man who's trying to just put a little charge on the battery here, because I think everybody in this group, if you know Howell, you know that it's coming at some point, and you're going to want to have something to try to go with him and take advantage of what I'm expecting a surge to come on the forward KOM when they hit that. But right now, everybody kind of keeping their powder dry. So I don't, Joseph Chodek here, he's another rider I'd watch, but it looks like Howell's going to hit out. There you go. Howell Davies rolling off the front here.
Yeah, a little bit of a go here, and this is not a bad time to do so. Wow, 3%, negative 4% here. The pack most likely going to bring that right on back. Joseph now heads to the front. 1.8, 1.9 from actually shutting the door, it looks like. Arts coming on through the Netherlands. Will Howell continue to go is the question. We're going to see a kick from him. 10% gradient here at 5.5. Does look like lots of orange numbers blasting though behind now at this point. So I think this is going to come back very quickly. Left-hand turn. Still, lots of landscape to work with before they hit the KOM. And it looks like all back together. Nobody going to get dropped off. It is a full minute back to Steinman, Lupinetti, and Ripmeister went back to that pack. Schwartz and Power. These guys have been chasing forever, and they almost got them within sight here at this point. So we still got a race here for a top 10. If this group can get back to the 3 up at this is
wow,
definitely interesting here. Yeah, I think the top 10 is still available for that chase group because there's so many involved here on this long stretch. I think they can get this back.
Nathan, fantastic. This will be interesting when you see, will this group catch those 3 kind of caught in no man's land right now? We almost have 2 different bike races going on because that front group also has an incredible dynamic going on right now as they just go over 20K into this 34K showdown. There is a lot to work with out here in New York. But right now, you go back and I have to say, Roy,
Joseph,
Dutch rider,
who is this guy?
Who is this guy?
About Wibble Wobble, about James Hodges. Who is this guy?
I think that he's going to know now because, yeah, James Hodges is certainly one. So the alias thing, actually, what was Howell racing under last week? Howell Towel, right? Wasn't that it?
Howell
if I remember
Towel,
correctly, something.
He was letting us know how to
the
pronounce
aliases
his name.
are popping up. Yes. And that's okay. We're having some fun out here on the Apple Lap today, the second of the Zwift Classics here. And this is going to be one of the more challenging courses, one of the more fun courses to race on as well. I would, as you were saying, Nathan, you've raced out here a few times. So has James Hodges as well. He's going to be very, very familiar with what he's got in front of him here. And that experience might be playing out right now as Hodges making some big watts, but he's not a house on fire. This is a guy under control.
Yeah,
and
well, Hodges beats very
low.
low. His max heart rate's actually near the 170s or so from what I remember. So he's definitely right up into that threshold at this point, 6 watts per kilogram or so, as you can see. But he's got a 7-second gap, so this is no joke. I wouldn't be really playing around with this. If I were in the... I'm not sure that the group, though, can bring this back at this point. You know, that question coming in from Joseph is telling me that they're kind of just watching each other going, well, are you going to go? You going to go? You going to bring this back? With only 7 seconds... And the kind of power we're probably going to see over the top of this climb, this might actually be a little bit of a shot in his own foot here, you know, coming from Hodges. If he doesn't get 15 seconds, okay, that'll be able to work with at 5.2, 5.6. He's not going to be able to punch up into that 8 to 9 for quite a long time because of how long he's spending at threshold off the front. But they're slowing down. 15 to 20 seconds might be able to do it for Hodges here.
Well, it's actually really a great example as you watch all the metrics here, the data. You can see how, you know, James is going to keep this right at 5.3, 5.4 watts per kilo, where only one of the guys back in that chase group has to make those kind of numbers. They're not even quite doing that right now, actually. But you can see that the one guy sits at about 5, the rest sit at about 3. You know, so everybody right now is, you know, working nowhere near as hard as Hodges is. But he's put this up over 10 now, and the gap is growing. So I completely agree with what you're saying, Nathan. Just dangling off of the front for 5 minutes isn't doing yourself any favors. But he's now starting to make an impact here, talking about James Hodges as the gap continues to just sort of inch out. It's going to go up to 15 seconds, it looks like, the way it's going right now.
They keep closing the door on the front. They are definitely not working well together. They're trusting that the climb is going to shut things down. If they rest up enough,
they're not too worried. I would agree.
Yeah.
This is not a group that's organizing a chase, and they very well could be right. But these are the cards that you have to play in order to win. You have to risk losing, and I don't think James is afraid of that risk.
Yeah, good call there. And I also know that James is not the best sprinter in the world up against the likes of Chudik as well as Howell Davies. So I think that might be also some of the motivation here, that he just does not want to go toe to toe in a sprint with those riders. So this is his best card to play. So it looks like as we get into the climb here in just a moment, it's going to be a left-hand turn. We're going to see right off there in the distance, the Essex House, and we will be into the forward KOM 4.2, 5.2 now. A little bit of a back off perhaps to try and get the little bit of reprieve now up into 5.0 plus. And I think he's going to kind of start thinking about, okay, I have to take on this monsters climb, backing off just a tad, as it's going to be essentially a 2.5 full gas effort, and try and hold off this group. 15 seconds, that's what I said the number was he had to have. He's just about got it. Will it be enough to hold off a hard charging pack? Because they're going to push orange numbers over the top here. What's he going to, you think 6 plus, now up in the 7? Can he hold that all the way to the top? Wow. I'm not sure.
So this is going to be interesting. Let's look at the numbers that they're making back in that chase when they hit that pivotal point of the course here. So still a little under 10K to go, but the advantage certainly saying that James Hodges has done some serious work out here. And if these guys don't buckle down back in this group, it's going to be a really hard chase. So this is where they're going to start dropping riders out of this group, Nathan. So, all right, this is a big moment. It tells you that they are really starting to ramp up the chase right now. Hodges is all in.
15 seconds. He's holding on to it, but now fading 6 watts per kilogram. As you can see here, now it's, wibble wobble, now 4.3. As we said, Davies now 7 watts per kilogram, but it is on a flatter section of the course here. As he gets into the climb, again, most likely going to punch over the top again here. Will Davies back off to a lower number in just a moment here as the gradient goes down? It is, but it is only 6 down to 6. I mean, Howell is just trying to go across. Now, this could be interesting. If Davies goes across.
Well, he's blown his group up. Yeah,
and doesn't bring a lot of riders with him. Hodges could have somebody to work with here in just a moment.
So the advantage now is going to go under 10 seconds for the first time in a while. It's actually kind of coming down quickly. I think that Howell's making a big statement, is going to make the catch here in the next couple of minutes, actually less than that. It's going to be 6 riders together when the dust settles here, Nathan. It looks like we're going to have a bit of a reset going on the front here.
He's not even going to wait. I think Howell's going to go flying right on by here at this point here, as it looks like Hodges is he's used up all the energy to get to this point. We said can't hold 6, 7, 8 watts per kilogram because of the reality of how long he was off the front. It's going to level out for just a moment. He may be able to get a little bit of reprieve, but not soon enough, as it's 17%. Joseph Chudik looks to go to Croft. He's going to do just that, but it's going to be 2 off the front here. And this is a small enough pack that these two could stay away now, as Howell and Chudik, they're together. It's going to be wibble wobble. James Hodges is going to find a pack to work with here in just a moment, as we do have the P2Z rider Matten here is going to come across to him. Reno's there as well. 2 teammates, they could work together, but Arts is completely gone, the man out of the Netherlands.
If this was a schoolyard fight, you'd hear everyone saying, well, he started it. Well, certainly James Hodges started this, but Howell wants to finish it right now. The rider from Wales is trying to make his statement here, as they are now getting within sniffing distance of the barn here. This race is really going to change every man for himself here into the final 9K. So Howell Davies, Joseph Chudik, they've been the riders that really have made the biggest mark out here. Then you can see the Spaniards, they're trying to organize. James Hodges is going to try to get on to that group. Roy Arts here, our Dutch rider on the World Elite Zwifters team. And let's see what Morrison can do. He's still, well, it looks like Roy Arch might be the Mason-Dixon line there, the dividing line for riders who have a chance to be on the podium at this point as he's sitting 13 seconds out. But again, it looks like it's going to be Joe Chaddock here trying to make his statement. Hal Davies, the rider that we've got on our screen. What a race this is.
Chaddock got across first. I thought Davies might be able to come across there, unable to do so. The three behind...
Almost.
They're within, it looks like, striking distance still.
Within 5 seconds, 4 or 5 seconds. Yeah.
I'm amazed
I think
after being up the front that long
here.
that Hodges held on to Marino's wheel over the top of there. That is amazing. Peter Z Rider here, 6.3. Anvil as well. He'll get back on terms. This is all going to come back together.
Give Hodges credit. He got out in front of that effort from Howell, and we'll see what happens now. Do you think we see a 5-rider group together on the front, Nathan? It's going to be close. Does it happen?
I think so. And as you do see Matt here getting into that super tuck, 78 kilometers per hour. We see 70 here coming from the riders ahead. Now Hodges here using that Anvil on the downhill as well. I think that's really going to give an advantage to the riders behind here. As Davies now kicks 13 quick here, though. 70 kilometers per hour. We're seeing only 70, now 72 almost. Hodges continuing to pedal away. I don't know if they're going to bring this back, actually. 3 riders versus 2, though. And they're going to have to really put some work in, as I think the 2 riders ahead are probably just A-plus level, maybe a tad above the 3 that are on the chase.
I would agree. These 2 are a super duo. No doubt about it when you talk about Chuddick and Davies. Although they're not exactly working together right now. It's a little tricky, too, on this descent. Everybody's super tucked out. Now you're going to see getting back on top of a gear is going to be Joseph. That's the rider for Finesse Esports. They're sitting on the front.
They're arguing. They're actually arguing with each other. Davies is like, why? I'm not going to pull. What are you talking about? As Davies comes on through
Then he rockets by.
Yeah, and now there's a turnaround here, and immediately you can actually see on the right-hand side of the riders here, they're going to go right into the sprint section, and because of that, it's most likely going to cause have a break here. Oh, yes, he's actually saying yes.
They're sitting up.
Well, wobbles, though, they're all together now at this point. They might just come flying right on by. This is now back together, 5 riders. Why means yeah. Oh
Ladies and gentlemen, let me show you that moment why bike races are not always won by the strongest guy. This is not an exercise contest. There's a lot of psychological warfare.
Are they even going to sprint for this?
Witnessed that.
I'm not sure they're going to even sprint for this. They're just looking at each other after that. Now a little quick 10 watts per kilogram, and there it is. But it's like, just kind of roll through. Reminds me of like the breakaways in the Tour de France when they're like, whatever, we don't really need this.
Well, when you're in 119th and 138th place in the points competition, there's really no point in sprinting for those points, right? And I don't think these guys were too worried about it. They're more focused on the end game here, which is coming up.
No, not to blame me for his race tactics either. I'm not the distraction. You distracted yourself out there, Howell. Pay attention to the race, not the broadcast. Let's go here. He better get the W now after trying to say it's the broadcast fault. All right, Marino versus Davies, Chuddick, wobble. The man Hodges is out there as well. Arts is on the chase. Don't think he's coming back. Peter Z got 2 in here. They could start throwing some bodies out the front, Dave.
I've heard a lot of excuses, but blaming the broadcasters, that is a first. For sure, Jorge Moreno here is certainly going to be a rider to watch. There's got to be a couple guys here, Nathan, that are really licking their lips, looking forward to the finale, because I anticipated it was going to be one solo rider alone. And actually, I think a few people might have thought that. But now, resetting things here as we come up quickly on 30K into a 34.3K showdown. I wouldn't be too surprised now if this 5-rider group is sprinting for the win as a group of 5.
Yeah, it's going to be.
If you take a look at the profile, it's relevant.
The reality here is, here's the thing is, you've only got 5 riders at this point. There's only so many opportunities left, right? They're about 5K or so, a little less than that to go to the finish line.
They just made it over the forward KOM. So if you didn't get rid of them there, what do you think you're going to use to get rid of them now, right?
Yeah, P to Z with 2 riders, though, they could start doing some efforts, but I'm not sure that they've got the strength against the reality of Chuddick and and Davies. So I have a feeling that perhaps everybody's watching those 2. Hodges is always a man that seems willing, though. We'll see if he gives a little bit of a go. And the other thing is with what's left here, if you are watching for a sprint, some riders might, you do get those situations where like, I'm not chasing that, you chase that. And people start kind of infighting about who's going to chase. And that's where you can sneak way off the front.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see. Now, has Howell saved up one attack here, or Joseph Chidek as well? These are two very recognizable names in esports, but this is also a great moment for someone like Jorge Moreno, the Spaniard here on P to Z. That this is also interesting, Nathan. What do you do with two riders in a 5-rider group? Now, remembering that obviously one of you must be a better sprinter than the other. Theoretically, you would have the rider use your teammate as a rabbit, have him force a chase and allow you to sit on that chase and try to surf it to sprint through. But that's much easier said than done.
Davies versus Chudik is really where it's at in the sprint. I think they're just waiting to go head to head.
I agree.
We're looking at 15.8 and 15.4. I mean, it's so incredibly close between those two. I think the others just want to get away at this point, but man.
So if you're James Hodges,
on paper, those two are just heads and tails above everybody else, even in FTP, except for George Moreno. He is a rider who could ride away right now. I'm not sure he can take them down in a sprint, though, as it's a full 2 watt per kilogram less for 15 seconds. So Moreno might be one to go. We'll see.
So the way you beat them, the only chance you have then is to try to catch them looking at each other and attack off the front and see if you can get that couple of seconds while they wait for each other to chase. And that's the tactic. That's how you would do it. You don't wait for
each other so much. And Arts is within. Look at this. He's almost got him within sight. You can see him right around the corner here. Roy Arts throwing down at 375 watts. This is a ruler of a guy here. Riding for Wes. Oh my gosh. So 409 watts normalized power for the duration of this race so far. This guy is a monster. 8 seconds. I'm not sure he's going to be involved. Even if he gets back on terms, he might be able to, take one rider down in there. But after this kind of an effort, not sure it's going to do much for him. But holding off the chase for sure.
So Watts can make 14 watts per kilogram. Excuse me. James Hodges can make 14.0 watts per kilogram for his 15-second power, which is not all that far off what Howell Davies has up on the board at a 15.4. Now, these are just numbers that obviously tell you a lot, but it is not unimaginable that on a good day, Hodges could pop this one. So it's going to be interesting here. Does someone go above and beyond maybe what their recognized data and metrics show us and show us a little heart out here? Because there is no question amongst, I think, the folks in the know in the world of cycling that there's a certain immeasurable quality of a bike racer, and that is hard. And you can't, it's like a house with no windows. You can't see inside someone to know how badly they want it.
Yeah, speaking of badly they want it, look at just right there in the background, just almost out of sight. Arts continuing to close this down. I'm loving the chase here from Roy. Amazing job. Yeah, 6 seconds. If he gets back on terms, he can hang on to some wheels here. That final little climb,
everybody's waiting
next to the reservoir. This is it right here. This moment. It's a little bit of a 2-tier. It does kick to 3%. Then it goes down a little bit and then back into about an 8% or so as they go into the final K. We're about a K&a-half to go at this point. Joseph Chuk makes his way to the front now. Arts now 8.6. He's almost got them, but they're probably going to have a final kick here in just a moment as Joseph makes his way to the front. Are they going to play games, or is it going to just be looking at each other, waiting for a sprint? No, Hodges goes. Wibble wobble here. 9 watts per kilogram. This is the final chance, I think, for him to get away, and he's going to take advantage of it. Joseph Stewart following it up very quickly here. Arts is 2 seconds off the back still. 6.2. Is he just going to barely grab on? Oh, my gosh. He's going to do it. Get on Marino's wheel now. But so talk about a race of attrition, though, here. We're at 1.5 to go.
Well, and what does it tell you about this front group, Nathan? For me, it means that every guy here wants a crack at this sprint or else they would. They've been going at a rate that allowed Arts to join, but now it looks like we're going to find a final surge here. This is it into the final K of racing. It's like watching a breakaway group coming into town in the final of a Tour de France stage, and we're going to see out of this group, Nathan, these are the men that are going to be trying to make their mark on the Big Apple. Here's our Apple lap is just about done for our European East C1 group.
Yeah, and as you can see here now, Chuduk now sitting in. He all the way up into 180 beats per minute here at a certain point, though. So we're looking Wibble Wobble sitting in. That's going to be James Hodges. He made the initial attack that went straight to the back here. Who's going to be? Look at Howell. Not even pedaling. Now kicking in a little bit here. He's really saving some energy here. I think Davies is the man to watch out for. He's so incredibly smart.
You don't sprint.
Very cagey rider.
Yeah, you don't start your sprint from the front. You started from exactly where he is. Watch this clinic coming from Howell.
Oh, big jump. Super early jump. He's trying to get away early. He does not want to go to the line with this one. 15, 16 watts per kilogram. It's because of the feather power up. He did not have an arrow, and he wanted to get the jump on everybody else. We do see Hodges looking to go across. 13 watts per kilogram coming from him. Oh, my gosh. He might be shutting it down here, but no. Howell is holding. He's holding maybe to the line, but here comes Joseph Chuduk. Chuduk now coming on through at 14 watts per kilogram. Is the speed going to be enough? But no, I think Howell Davies made it happen. What a jump from Davies there, crossing the line. Chuduk's going to get taken down, looks like, by Marino, though, I believe. Interesting to see. Right to the line.
I had Hodges there with the... So I for some reason, I thought that was James Hodges for the silver medal, but without any doubt, that was the clinic from Howell that we were looking for. You know, Nathan, some gamesmanship, games play out there, as well as Zwiftcraft, knowing exactly when to use that arrow, where it would make the biggest difference. He didn't want to save that for the end. He knew that that was the little sector where he could use it and have it help, and it worked out perfectly. There's your winner, Howell Davies out of Wales.
What a move there by Davies. Seriously.
Well done.
And very, very, very well timed. And I want to speak to this a little bit because, without a specific type of power up out there, I think the reason being why he jumped from where he did was to make sure that he had the gap and the downhill with the feather. It's not going to help you very much, right? So there's the jump from the back of the pack, and he gets an immediate gap that he just has to hold on to all the way to the line. So he's trusting at this point that he can hold off the rest of the pack with a mano a mano, with it. You know what I mean? With the like you were saying, power to power, I can handle everybody else. And even if they have a little bit more than me and they work together against me, I'm still going to be able to hold them off to the line with that kind of a gap. He opened up immediately. It looks like that's 15 meters, actually. I mean, pretty good, pretty solid gap.
That's really trusting in your ability. He knew exactly what he could do, did it at the right time, let the chips fall where they may, and that was on the top of the podium for Howell here today.
I think Marino
Taking
might
a look
have
back
just
very close.
got Chuduk, perhaps. Yeah, I think he did. I think Marino just barely got Joseph Chuduk. Yeah, and I'm looking at the results.
How about James Hodges today, though?
That
was a great ride.
Seriously, and it's the jump he made late there that ended up getting him into second place, which is quite a result actually for Hodges.
I would agree. Out of a very select group. Well, I would imagine that I'm wondering what it's going to look like when we jump back in with Julia Shalau here in the women, and it has gone out of control. Almost up to 2 minutes back to our Argentinian strongwoman Marina Arce there, and then it looks like a group with Brewer and Marb there. So is it Leah or Lois? We'll have to figure that out. Both the sisters out of the United Kingdom on the Fearless team, very strong riders. We'll see which one today is up in bronze medal contention, it looks like. Possibly silver. More likely bronze.
Yeah, and this is going to be a solo ride in here for our amazing top female rider here, Charlotte.
So this is a ZRL stalwart, right? I mean, you're going to see her a lot in season 4. Talking about Julia, you could see her winning in season 4 for Rose Beast Mode, to tell you the truth. So quality rider here. Zero surprise to me to see this performance today from Julia. The German is this good.
Yeah, definitely. As Rose Beast Mode making the way to the line. They've been doing an amazing... Actually, I want to shout them out. They've been doing quite an amazing job across all of the socials. Actually, they've been making a lot of really cool highlights. Be on the watch out for that. It's been great to watch and see how they've been throwing those out there, and always awesome to see the participation in the community when it does come to anything like that. So great job by Beast Mode being super involved. Make sure to go check them out over on they've actually been doing lots of TikToks and lots of Instagrams with highlights actually. So definitely Beast Mode's on top of it when it comes to the promotion within the esports world.
I was just about to start looking to see what a Rose bicycle would look like. I'll have to go online and check that out, as they one of the esports teams that has a in real life sponsor. Can't remember if it's a bike or a bike shop. I'll have to answer that for myself here.
We're going to be jumping in with the men's race C1 Central in just a moment. We've got the likes and no pins R3R in there. We do have some Rose Beast Mode. Wahoo Lacole is showing up again, I believe, in Central. I do see Hal Davies signed up for that, so I think he might be showing up for a second go, actually. Noah Balk is going to be in there from Wes. We saw him last week. Jack Pulley from the Cryo RDT team, as well as Eddie Uli, the South African, who's always one to be watching out for. So keep an eye out here. NZ Bros showing up with Kyle Gray as well. So lots of big names here. KC, Kirchner, E-Cycling are going to be in. So Central Europe C1 in just a few moments here as we wait for them to get off 12:45 actually, Central Standard Time. So in about 20 minutes they'll be starting up here. Women are just finishing up here, and it is going to be Chalu now with a little less than a K to go here to the line.
Well, the answer is both, actually. In Germany, and I think a lot of Northern Europe, Nathan, you'll see that bike branding is done a little bit differently than we, at least here in the United States and Canada, where bike shops oftentimes will have their own brand made. And that's Rose looks like an incredible, comprehensive mountain bike packing, obviously all types of road cycling. They are, comprehensive bike shop, bike brand. If you lived in Germany, I don't think you'd need to go anywhere else.
Pretty awesome to see. And we actually have that here as well, a little bit here and there. I mean, starting up a tad. I'm not sure to the kind of level though that we're seeing overseas.
It would be similar to like REI has the Novara brand of bikes, something similar to that concept, where the major bike shops have manufacturers make bikes for them and they brand them themselves. Rather than selling a Specialized or a Trek, I would sell Dave's bikes, but have Specialized make them for me. Yeah, sounds good, right?
How do I get a hold of Dave's?
Well, I can have you. I know a guy there, so I'll get you a deal. Get you a good deal, Nathan. So this is the Argentinian on the Aeonian team. Big fan of what Aeonian's all about. I think we brought that up a couple of weeks ago, talking about how, they have the high-end ZRL Premier League team, but they also have, at this point, it's got to be over 100 women participating at all different levels, but all part of an awesome community. And here is one of their South American riders, Argentinian Alice, who we've gotten to know quite well over the last couple of seasons, holding on for what will be clearly a silver medal out here today.
Yeah, amazing job here by Marina. And then it will be Marb battling for third still, though, with Leah Brewer. The Fearless Riders has not held up and given up at all up against the Beast Mode rider here. Beast Mode rider to the front, 5-1, trying to drop off Leah Brewer. But Brewer, very experienced rider. Leah Brewer's been around for quite a long time. I've been commentating on this Fearless team for so long, and I think as Arce's crossing the line there, they see her kicking 6 watts per kilogram ahead. But this is, it looks like a very smart ride by Brewer. She's just sitting on, waiting for her moment, perhaps.
Yeah, I would have to say that Leah, this is her sprint to lose. She's got a tremendous kick, and I honestly would be quite surprised. Now, Marla Marb is an up-and-coming rider, no doubt about it. This would be huge if she could figure out a way to take this one out. This is your classic race situation. Two riders. We've locked it down. They're not going to get caught from anyone from behind. So I agree with you, though, Nathan. I think we run them to the line here with all due respect to Marla Marb. Leah Brewer is an absolute monster. And again, this is the challenge that you're looking for in racing. If you're Marla, you know that this would be a big win. Leah Brewer almost has that opposite pressure on her, Nathan, where she comes into the sprint knowing that she's one of the best at this, and she needs to prove it again. That's why there's no rest for our champions out here. Just week after week, they're coming after you. Let's see if Leah Brewer, she's going to be in the Fearless kit there, the yellow and blue, is going to be able to hold up. And again, that's why we have them race, right, Nathan? If we just looked at the numbers on the paper, that wouldn't be that exciting. We're going to make Leah Brewer prove that she's one of the best sprinters in the world here.
And here we go here. Leah Brewer sitting in, waiting for her moment to pounce now. Rose Beast mode now. It looks like Marb's starting to ramp things up just a tad. It's still 500 meters or so to the line. There's going to be a little left-hand turn and then a downhill, as you do see. Now we're within 400, almost into 300 here. When's the kick going to come? A lot of times you don't actually
knows
see
what
it.
She's doing.
You don't see it until the last moment here. Marb here now, waiting. There's going to be a little bit of a bump, and then there she goes, 9 watts per kilogram now coming from Leah Brewer. She's good. I think it's done. Yep, game over. And Marb, that was, I mean, she's even got the aero power up. That was possible, but a little bit of late drop there. Going to take down that third place at the line. Nice job there coming in from Brewer.
And that's, when you see the experience there, she knew to wait, not to go too early. And Marla Mark
was pretty
more
textbook.
than held her own. It was. And that's what you should do, right? That was bike racing 101 right there. Well done, Leah Brewer. But Marla Marb, I'm impressed. Looking for big things from her.
100%. Now looking through, we do have about 16 minutes to the start of the next race for the men's race. This is the Zwift Classics 2021. The Apple Lap, July 20th today. Here we're on race number 2. Next week will be the Crit City Slam, which is going to be very interesting as well. Make sure to be checking that out. Let's go ahead and take a quick look here at the results. Then we'll take a quick break for about 5 minutes between the races here. And on the results, though, it is going to be Apple Lap, Eastern Europe C1. Dave, take it away.
You bet. It's going to be Hal Davies taking the win with James Hodges under the alias of Wibble Wobble there for second. Did a lot of work out there to help make the race, and good job, James. But Hal is our gold standard. It's going to be Jorge Moreno rounding out our top 3 there, taking the bronze medal. Joseph Choidik will take the chocolate medal they've got for 4th place. And then it's Goiteksha Conde in 5th, Roy Ertz for 6th. Balenciaga in 7th, Johansson 8th, Bauer 9th, and then Lorio rounding out our top 10. That is a real international list of flags, Nathan, when you look at that, and that's what it's all about, our Eastern Europe C1 men at the Apple Lap today. Hal Davies takes a big bite out of it.
On the women's side of things, we do have, as we do see Shiloh there coming on through, 4.6 watts per kilogram. RC coming on through 2 minutes back, and it was Brewer getting that sprint over Marb there at the last moment. Now, I am in the pens over for the next race here in Central, and Hal Davies did just join. So will he be able to do some back-to-back? I think he's going to be working for his teammates from Wahoo Coca-Cola, as I am seeing plenty of them hanging out in and amongst this next race here. So good to see you there. And it'll be interesting to see how Wahoo Coal are going to end up playing this out here. Dave, so we've got about, it looks like 14 minutes to the start of the next race. We're just going to take a quick break here, everybody, and have sit down, relax. We'll go to a nice little 5-minute or so break screen, and then as we got a little bit of time between the races, they're about a little less than 1 hour or so between them, as we're out here on the Apple Lap. We'll be covering Central if you're waiting for that, as well as Western Europe. So A little less than 15 minutes to start of the next race. We'll see you guys in about 5 to 10. Here, and for some reason, it's not coming through. Let's. Where's our break screen? And we're back. Welcome to Zwift Community Live. If you're just tuning in, well, the stream's already starting here. I don't know why that's in the corner there. There we go. That's gone. All right, here we go. And so, Nathan Garrett, Dave Toll next to me. We just got done with Eastern Europe. If you're just tuning in, it is Central Europe Zwift Classics, the Apple Lap that we are out on here. The Everything Bagel. Let's take a quick look at the course here, Dave. One time through at this point, I think maybe a little bit familiar with it for everybody that's tuned in as well as ourselves. It's going to be 2 times over the top of the KOM, 34.3 kilometers, and really has been whittling things down. I think Central Europe might be one of the more popular races. We might have a little bit bigger pack this time around.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, this course comes at you almost immediately as you take a look here at it's complex. There's no doubt about it. It's a racer's race today. And I think that's probably the best part of this is that you get after it and you got to stay on it. Small groups formed early in Eastern Europe, and I would expect the same thing here, to tell you the truth, is there's no rest for the weary out here today in New York. 34K, lot climbing. 545 meters over the 2 laps. And really, whichever way you're coming up the KOM, ultimately on the second lap, you hit the forward KOM. That's really your last chance to blow things up if you don't want to see a sprint out there.
Yeah, now quickly looking at the talent that's showing up on the day. Interesting enough, I am seeing in and amongst the women's side of things, there is a couple of draft jerseys. Interesting enough to see. Crush Pod is also showing up here. So Kind of a little bit of a no joke situation here when it comes to the women's side of things for the racing. And the men's side of things, we are seeing, as we did see, the winner of the first race here, Hyle Davies, is also shown up on the day. So definitely top talent all around. We've got about 3:17 to the start of the race. As we can take a quick look here, if you're just tuning in, it is a Zwift Classics 2021 Crit City Slam next week. We are on the Apple Lab this week. We're going to be doing these all the way through August 31st. So make sure to sign up. Go ahead on WTRL.racing in order to get more information about how you can join in and check things out. As we do see, as I did say, Crush Pod on the line. They're going to be showing up in the women's race. Looks like with 3:45 to go. The sets there from draft. I was seeing Straub, and I think we're going to have a draft versus Crush Pod situation. They are definitely one of the top teams we've been seeing showing up in the WTRL TTT, and it looks like they're doing the same here in the Classics.
All right. So, yeah, I'm taking a look at some of the names on my start list. I'm not excited. I can't imagine that Julia is racing again. So I'm wondering if I have made a mistake on my end here. So I'm seeing Alessia Polemi, also Marla Marb, all would have been in that last race on my start list here. So am I missing something here,
said
Nathan?
she was going to be jumping in with this race. She actually said that in chat.
All right. Well,
so she's going to be jumping in with this race. And she did not race the last race. She had signed up for it, but didn't have time, I think, to jump on in. So as we sit on the start line, I have a feeling Alessia may be making something happen here. Kari Merritt, JD Frayne, Mir Davies. This is also coming from the inside team. That'll be interesting to see how that plays out here today. I wonder what kit they're going to be in.
Now, is Vicky Nealon actually on the start line here? There she is, Vicky Nealon of the Hino team. It's a big name in esports, kind of quietly tucked into my start list here, but Vicky Nealon is taking the start. There's that Hino kit right there. So obviously that should send shivers of fear down the spines of other riders to hear that Nealon is in the field.
Yeah, Vicky Nealon, be on the watch out. I mean, with
there's a lot of
here, I think things are going to get completely blown up having Nealon in here. I mean, undefeated team in the Zwift Racing League. It doesn't get any faster than Nealon, that's for sure.
And I don't see Julia Shalau back for a second race. I've got her on my start list, but she would be one of the few riders. There's Strasser that we're looking at. That's a big name out here. But yeah, Nealon is a huge talent. We just watched in our previous race a runaway performance going on from Julia Shalau. So we'll see if Vicky Nealon can repeat that, or if we've got a whole new bike race to watch out here.
20 seconds to go in the men's race here, as we do have riders still just jumping in. Iverson here now. Howell Davies is out here with some Wahoo Lacole boys here. E-Cool here from Toyota Cryo RDT. A new, is that actually going to be, I think we're getting a little bit of maybe some fun names jumping into here as well, because I have a feeling that it's going to be Eddie Uli that perhaps is the rider that we are looking at there, perhaps as we take off from the start line. Davies, as you can see here, WLC, winner of the last race. No pins, Arthur Van Notternod here. Now, always a rider to be watching out for as he takes off from the start line. OMG is showing up. That's going to be the Oh My God They Killed Kenny team. That's been a part of our Zwift Racing League quite a bit as well. As we did say, it is a very fast downhill immediately from the get-go into the Central Park. And then there's a climb almost right from the get-go into the glass roads in just a moment here. Looking through some of the names, Theme was one I would be watching out for Rose Beast Mode. Solo rider, I think, though. I don't think the German rider has any teammates out here today. Anvil early here, Dave. Up an uphill from the KC rider. That's not exactly how you want to be using that as the men take off from the get-go here. And now the women are also jumping out on course. As we look through, it is going to be they're a little bit of a start. We'll see if there's some separation right from the get-go. Alessia Polemi is here for Team Rave, and then Vicky Nealon's sitting on.
Mickey Nealon's going to take it easy for a moment at least. So, Nathan, going back to the men, I'm guessing. I did not notice what you were talking about with Eddie Oily, but I think maybe there's a pronunciation help on his name. Was there something that he was doing that might have given us a clue? So, cool. I see. So no, I thought maybe he was doing what Howell did last week, but no, Eddie's awesome. Actually, the South African here who comes in as, I would say, a prohibitive favorite. I would expect nothing less than a podium if he can get the top step. That would be awfully nice here today, as Hassan Yassim is here, the Irish rider, on that Wahoo Cole team, and he's got Hal Davies fresh off a win that just wrapped up a few minutes ago. So, cool. I can work with that, Eddie. Eddie is cool.
Savory actually was in the last race. He did the first kilometer and then stopped for some reason.
Huh.
So I'm wondering if perhaps something went down at home and he's like, okay, I will just jump into Central and get a good workout in Central and try and work together with some of his teammates. He does have Noah Block here as well, or Balk here as well with him. So maybe perhaps he was looking for a couple extra teammates to work with out here today. You do see the WEZ jersey, the Wes jersey in-game World Elite Zwifters. As they do use this blue and little orange stripes on the back here. Be on the watch out for them. Going to be very strong team members out here today. Iverson now make his way to the front, the Welshman now. And he's going to be, who is he riding for? I'm going to have to take a look through and see. Young here from the VCRT team. That's a team that got a lot of hype actually on the Americans. The America streams of the Zwift Racing League, actually. Good to see them jumping into the classics now as well. NZ Bro, the New Zealand team with Gray here making his way to the front. Herrera now from Optical here out of Portugal on the front as well. Optical Plus, I've not seen that name before. I have to take a look through and see what that's all about.
Christoph Thiem of the Beast Mode team is going to be a rider who I'd really watch on either one, the forward or the backward KOM, to tell you the truth. It's going to be interesting to see who tries to shake things up a little bit out there as we get a good look at definitely a different kind of race heading into the first 3K here. But as it pitches up, Nathan, we start to
CarRDT are actually in the YouTube here, and they're saying that might be a hint. So instead of Uli, maybe it is cool. Ul. Eddie Ul. Maybe he's letting us know, just like cool. So as he's off the
that's
front,
what I was
be here. Yeah, and I am seeing Eddie is actually in chat letting us know right now as he attacks at 13% here, 9 watts per kilogram. Unless that's going to be a family member under here. I mean, like, what is going on here?
No, but you know what? That's a kind of name that you wonder, like, are we getting that right or not? And Ul would make a ton of sense. So I think that we found a new way for riders to communicate to us how to pronounce their last name, and I'm all for it. That's for sure. So it's now Eddie Ul and Howell Davies. We've come a long way, but this is going to be Eddie right now, opening up a bit of a gap. You can see it's only at 2 seconds, but Nathan, this is a statement early in the race.
It definitely is. He's letting us know who can climb here as he pushes up into 8.8 watts per kilogram. Now, Thiem now trying to close this down. The German rider here, as it is going to be Kronjager as well. And hiding from the Fusion Dev team with a little bit of a feather power up. Young from the VCRT now making his way to the front as they continue to try and chase this down. But Eddie here now. Eddie Ul now, 7 watts per kilogram. He was up into 8 for quite a while. He's got a 6-second gap at this point. This is what I was talking about in the World of Zwift, though. Look at the large pack behind there. A solo rider off the front. This is going to be all about the points, first across the line, fastest through segment, because if that pack does not whittle down, it's going to just come storming down the other side. It's going to be very hard to hold this off. How much time, though, would he need to hold off a hard chasing pack? I'm saying 15 to 20 seconds over the top and sprinting. Rose Beast Mode's got something to say about it, though, at 8 watts per kilogram. All stuck together, though.
To their advantage to stick together without any doubt. Speaking to the physics and the dynamics of what you were talking about, Nathan, what Eddie would hope was that they would blow themselves up with everybody just going into full-on panic mode trying to lead the chase, and that's actually starting to happen a little bit. It's to his benefit for a bunch of splits to happen back in this group, and it doesn't look like they're going to take that bait. This group's still working well together as, let's see, as again going back to the front, gap's going to go maybe up to 10 seconds, but I don't think it gets much higher than that, as we'll go up and over the top, leaving everybody who didn't take the bait. As I said, well, they're starting to surge now. Look at all those orange numbers popping there as Eddie's settled into a steady, Noah Balch here, making a big move, the World Elite Zwifter Oral 7 rider. So Eddie Uhl right here for Toyota Cryo RDT, certainly going to get the fastest through the segment there. Christoph Thiem, Rose Beast Mode, the German rider, Daniel Jemrosik there, the American, and you can see it is splintering back here.
It's splintering a little bit, as I do believe most of this is going to come back together. Look at how now in the arrow power
it
up
won't
and
all
tuck
come
here.
back together. It won't all come back together, though. So Eddie has definitely done some damage out here. He hasn't pulverized the race, Nathan, but he's put at least half of those guys. They won't rejoin here. You can see these big gaps. Not every one of these gets closed.
100%. I think Gamst might be the rider that really gets the worst of it here now, as he's waiting for a couple of riders to come on through. We've got a little bit of cheering on of this rider here. Good luck to Michael and Louise Gamst, both in the C1 riders coming on in from Daryl Carter. Good to see Daryl Carter jumping in here. And this is going to be Michael Gamst trying to jump back on terms with Nim as he jumps across. It's 3 seconds up to Davies. He might be able to make this happen. We'll have to wait and see. We do have on the women's side of things here as well a battle happening between Polemi and Vicky Nealon. This is what we were expecting here. McKinley just falling off.
Good.
Beset there from draft, trying to chase this down, but this is going to be the head-to-head, I think, in the women's race. And Polemi's showing us from Team Rave, the Italian rider here, that she can hang with the best of the best. I mean, Vicky Nealon, it doesn't get any stronger than this. Last week we saw it as well. This week again, Polemi here up against Nealon. Now 6.3 watts per kilogram. Will Vicky be able to jump across and over the top, or jump over the top here for the KOM?
Nathan, if you asked me how many women do you know, or men for that matter, that we could just find right now and put into Premier League in the ZRL and expect them to not only hold their own, but even be successful, I would say one. This lady right here. Alessia Polemi is unbelievable. And Vicky Nealon right now has got to be shaking her head and saying, holy cow, that's a high-no rider. So Heino would probably already, I'm going to guess that Lars Huschbell's probably already reached out. A few folks have reached out, I would think, because Alessia Polemi, the professor, that's my nickname for her. She's so smart, so strong. I mean, this is outrageous. Vicky Nealon is going to be in for quite a race. If Vicky, and what a class act Vicky Nealon is. She would never, I was going to say, if Vicky showed up expecting to just roll away with this one, she's in for a surprise. Well, Vicky certainly wouldn't be that cocky or overconfident, knowing that there's always going to be women like this that'll come out of the woodwork. Well, here she is. She has completely arrived, talking about the Italian, now living in America, Alessia Polemi. Welcome to your introduction, if you haven't already heard of her, to a world-class esports rider. There's no doubt in my mind, Nathan. No doubt at all.
Looking through here, there's going to be the anvil power coming on in from Nealon. Now it's going to close things down pretty quickly here, right up into 4.4. Well, it was on the 5 for a second here. Now she's going to calm right on get into a super tuck. Hopefully, the trainer's not really helping her out there, though, at just the moment. It was kind of being a little bit frustrating. Those situations can be a little bit frustrating as you do not get into a super tuck. Sometimes if it just holds on to 1 watt, sometimes it will not tuck for you. And as you do see, she's got to put in a little extra effort because of that. She will close things down to the Rave Rider up ahead of her, though. In the men's race, though, we did have a little bit of attack here come from Jamrazik here off the front. He is going to be riding for the Restart team at a 1 second gap, and things are all welded back together for the main group. Gamst and Nim, they tried to make it happen. DBR rider here, Damaged Bike Riders, along with his BL13, also coming out of Denmark, but different team here. No Pins R3R here on the chase as well, with a nice group here behind, but that gap is 33 seconds. This is going to be your lead group.
There's the Wahoo Lacole boys. Now, Nathan, I don't think you'd be too
back,
surprised.
Dude. Look at that. 3 riders at the back here, Dave. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't think it's 7.7K in. I don't think they're too worried about things.
Yeah, meaning that they're
Although,
just sitting in. I think they're
yeah,
just watching and
at first I
waiting.
thought you were saying they were off the back, and I was like, wait, what? But no, I mean they're fine. This
Yeah,
is
all at the
no
back. They kind of
problemo.
are all kind of getting together there, I think, saying, okay, calm on down. Nothing really to be worried about here at this point. As
Smile and wave. Nothing to see here, right? Um,
penguins,
so
bringing in some penguins, loving it.
there you go. Right, exactly. So, yeah, but this selection here, this is about half of that group that was there when Eddie Cool started his attack, right? So he got rid of some guys. Now, I just wanted to circle back, Nathan. You've done multiple races in a day. I'm sure you've done what Howell is doing right now, going back to back. It takes, I mean, that's obviously a great indicator that you're a world-class endurance athlete, the ability to do that. But when you're good like that, this is not, for Howell, he's not blowing his mind that he can do this again, is he?
No, I mean back-to-back races.
This is
I think
kind
I've
of what
done
you
like
do.
two to three in a row, especially for some good training.
Sure.
A lot of times would be a big day. I mean, the reality is they did, what is it, 34K. That's a less than 1 hour of racing. A lot of times when you're getting out for a good training ride, it is going to be 2 to 3 hours high intensity racing. So most likely what he's looking for here is some good training as well as supporting of his teammates. We do have a little bit of attack here actually coming from Denzi, though, Desmet, out of Belgium. So the Belgian rider here now. A little bit of a attack here. Davies saying he's not finishing today out there, though. So maybe just out here in support of his teammates, perhaps. But yeah, back-to-back racing. I mean, a lot of times if I were out there live streaming and I was, especially if it was good training coming in from off of a main base period and into a build period, but it's still trying to do high hours alongside of high intensity. 2 to 3 races in a row is definitely something that I'd be up to try and really put some sting in the legs. You get a lot of good response from that. So now they're going to head on down into Central Park again, and the reverse sprint is going to be the first thing they're going to be looking at in just a few K. That is the one that's got a little bit of bump at the top and then a downhill. The anvil could be beneficial here, but the Belgian rider found himself out the front and quickly off the back. If you don't time things well, the speed that you're carrying on a downhill not going to be nearly as high. You can see how incredibly fast those packs travel comparatively to a solo rider with how that momentum came through that flat into an uphill off of that downhill section here. Already suffering, man. He had to. It's so amazing.
Still,
just, that showed you right there exactly how fast the pack travels on.
Look at the numbers. I mean, look at that. David is having to put it up into the red. He's hovering. I mean, this is not a pleasant experience right now, trying to rejoin the group. And it matter, yeah. I do not envy David's position here, as the Belgian still hasn't made contact now. This is just brutal to watch. I think even Howell is trying to urge him on, and there you go. He's going to get back up into the group here. So the Gen Z rider is back in, but Nathan, momentum, a big part of Zwift craft.
Huge part. Yeah, definitely something you have to know about. You can find yourself in some very difficult situations like we just saw there if you do not understand the pack dynamics there. A little bit of thanks there coming in from David, as we do have a good luck. There was another one coming on through here actually from Julia, who just won the last race. Good to see her jumping in here and cheering on Christoph Thiem from Beast Mode. As Christoph, has he made the front?
There's a good vibe
though?
on that team.
There's amazing vibe here coming, but I believe Christoph might have got dropped off on the first climb, perhaps. No, he's still here. Excuse me. I would have been really surprised.
That would be a stunner.
Yeah, I mean, one of the top athletes here. So I just wasn't seeing him in the rider nearby list. So 152.
I also want to add, I do not believe Howell. Just so I'm on record, I don't think he bails on this race. I bet you he was doing a psychological head game there.
I wonder if he's got something in real life, and that's the reason. I think he would usually want to. I think he would usually want to finish, but I don't think it's going to have to do with being tired or not able from physical ability. I think perhaps there's something else going on in real life that would keep.
He's got a dentist's appointment or something that he has to get to.
Table. That's
right. Right. Again, yeah, I have to remember it's what, 7 o'clock probably at Howell's Place. Taking a look at our front group here now. That was nice to see our women's winner earlier today, Julia, giving a shout out to Christoph, though. Yeah, Rose Beast Mode has got it going on, and this is going to be Daniel Jim Rosick. We've seen that green. I love this kit. I love the team's attitude as restart. And Jim Rosick hitting out now. And Nathan, it's 34K of racing, about a third of the way in, 545 meters of climbing. And here comes a few more for you.
Yeah, and it is going to be the little bit of a kick here uphill, 1% uphill gradient at this point. It does get 2 seconds. Does look like Hall's trying to shut things down. Is he going across or is he just keeping the speed high? They are on the wheel here, so it does look like he's just trying to keep the speed high enough that it doesn't get away from him at this point. So Demrozic now on the downhill, 4.6 watts per kilogram, 57 kilometers per hour. Now Uhl to the front, followed up by Thiem. They're just going to roll on through. They can see this can get shut down pretty quickly as Demrozic threw down a good effort here, but very experienced riders behind, and they really didn't even have to work for that one.
No, and you can see other riders now have just been keeping the powder dry, like Hassim here. That beautiful Irish flag. I have a feeling that's who they're working for today on Wahoo Lacole, as Hassan, a very strong rider, and certainly has a monster kick. I absolutely, if he's in that final group, and that must be the game plan here today for Wahoo Lacole, is to make sure that he is. And so far, so good. Christoph Thiem is going to be the thorn in their side, is my thought, Nathan. Is I would expect that Christoph is one of the riders that's going to work very hard to make sure that it's not a sprint out here today, and try to go be the antidote to the poison that is Hassan Yassim's finish.
Davies with an early kick here, pulling Yassim
Teammate on his
across,
wheel.
most likely.
Yep.
Yeah, 16.5 real quickly there coming from Yassim. Thiem's trying to go across, it looks like, with an arrow power up. That may be the bane.
That's a real lead out right there.
Holding this off.
That was a
Speed
legit
from Thiem. Maybe to the line. It's going to be close, and he's going to do it. It was the arrow power up speed. That was timing. That was just really, really good timing from Christoph. Like perfection when it comes to that. Yeah, and now they've got a gap. Both these riders do have a pretty solid FTP. I mean, Thiem, we're looking at 5.0. Hassan also at 5.0. Not the 6 that we're seeing from Eddie Uhl or a few others here, but it doesn't look like it's going to stick, though. We do see the Young here closing this right on down for VCRT. There are a couple of riders off the back, though. And it is going to be David here up into 8 watts per kilogram. Man, that's all going to come back together. Davies, though, that was a lead out, and he's done. See you later. Dinner's on the table, and I think Davies out.
Well, good to have you out here, Hal, winning a bike race and trying to set the table for his teammate a little bit later. That's a job well done for the Welshman. So we say thanks, David DeSmith. Going to get back up into this group, but it gets tougher and tougher as we move our way through the middle part of this race. This one goes by quickly, this 34K. Full tilt boogie today in New York City out on the Apple Lap, our second classic of the season, and these are the men that have survived out here. Really aggressive race. Daniel Jim Rosick of the restart team just has the sledgehammer out and is wailing away today.
This has been all day long, actually, from Daniel. Every chance he's got, he is kind
very
of giving
impressive.
A little bit of a kicks, actually. So they've been having to be very attentive.
I would not want to go on
too.
No, he'd be the worst guy to be on a group ride with today, right? Just never going to let it be easy. But this is not a group ride. This is a bike race. And man, I tell you, this is the break of the day, Nathan. We're witnessing it happening right now. It's just got, well, I should say the break of this race, as we've seen some other riders make big solo moves out there. But it looks like he's on the charge here, putting it up over. So Eddie Uhl at 6 seconds. Young there, Christoph Thiem, Noah Balch leading the chase right now, but I'm watching and it is trending up. So here you go, Daniel, going all in. It's a Texas Hold'em bike race. He's pushing his chips into the middle of the table here.
7
like it.
seconds now, and Eddie Uhl backing off the 4.5, 52 kilometers per hour. We're seeing 57 here. Now, there's going to be a little bit of a kick. Will we see orange numbers here from Daniel on this rise here? Restart Racing now making their stamp. Noah Balk here now to the front for Wes. Now, as you can see, it's going to be Beckers from VCRT. Didn't notice that there were 2 VCRT riders actually in here. So, interesting to see. We'll see how that plays out as Young and Beckers have a couple of bodies to work with now. So now to the front, though, still hammering, and he's got a feather, which is going to be very beneficial on this section here. Uhl, is he going to go across or just pull the riders up? It doesn't look like he's trying to go across. It looks like this is just going to be about keeping it within striking distance, but it's staying at 7 seconds. If Daniel continues on here at this point, these riders may not have the motivation any longer to work together.
What if I'm him? What you're hoping is a couple quality guys come across and help you turn it into a 3-man bike race rather than the dozen guys still in the hunt right now. It'd actually be beneficial if a couple guys would split off of that group and bridge up to him, as it's a long range attack right now for Daniel Jemrozik. But let's see if he has been a catalyst here to ultimately set up the win. But I'm going to go with what you were saying, Nathan. It looks like everybody wants to chase together, which is actually the smart play for almost all of these guys. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out well for Daniel, is my guess right now. We'll see how things go.
Yeah, I mean, if Daniel can kick down the reverse side of Harlem Hill into some orange numbers, keep the speeds really high, because that's the most dangerous spot for him at this point with a pack that's this large, is how much time is going to be brought back there. Eddie Uhl is kicking into 7 watts per kilogram and carrying this pack, actually. Interesting enough to see.
He'd almost be better to try to bridge.
Throw down,
maybe
throw
not.
down 12. Why are we doing this 8 stuff?
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, we need to get a
Actually,
gap
take
here.
Christoph with you, and you're good. Honestly, if Uhl and Christoph Thiem want to go in, they are. All right, this is it. This is a really interesting moment in the bike race here. Everybody else back in that peloton had better be scrambling to get onto this wheel, because here we go. Eddie Uhl and Christoph Thiem are starting to attack, and look at this, the ripple effect going back to that. This is some awesome racing going on right now with one rider up the road, Daniel Jemrozik. He's the one that started this whole thing, but it looks like Uhl and Thiem have put the pressure on. This group is responding. You wonder, Nathan, is it going to be 4 riders then going forward? As you can see, these gaps are very, very hard to close right now.
See, it's going to back off here. Now, the speeds might have been super high, though, coming into this downhill because of those attacks, and just the timing doesn't work out very well for Daniel actually up ahead. But at 10 seconds now they're going to back off most likely after this downhill. We'll see if he opens things up again, because you're getting that infighting, right? Now they went a little bit of attack. It didn't work out. They back off to 3 watts per kilogram. It slows down. Daniel here now back up into 6, 7 watts per kilogram, as you can see. That didn't help out very much for him in his breakaway situation. Eddie here now backing off now back to the front at 5.4. Why so much work? That's what I want to know, is like, there's no cryo here. So it's just interesting to me. Why not just go across is my question here. He wants to keep it within striking distance. All he's doing at this point, from what my perspective, is you have a 1,200 watt sprint in this pack with WLC right now that's sitting in, right? I mean, this guy's got a 16 watt per kilogram, 15 seconds.
You're talking about Hassan?
Yeah, and it's like, why not break these guys rather than just kind of pull them along? I'm not quite understanding it personally.
I completely agree. If I'm Hassan Yassim, I'm loving this situation because really your 2 biggest danger men are effectively neutralizing each other out here. So we got a ways to go, but right now, I would say advantage to the Irishman on Wahoo Lacole, Hassan Yassim.
The question is, can he make it over the top of the next climb, though? That's the reality.
Yes.
75
Absolutely
75 kilogram rider here up against some of these lighter boys, and it's whittling down a little bit.
It's a power climb, though. It's a power climb.
Good point. What's the time over the other side here? Let's take a quick look here and see the time over the other side. 2:14, 2:16. So yeah, 2 minutes, a little over 2 minutes. So
it's certainly not going to be fun
horrible
for him, right? Yeah, yeah. But I truly believe that he'll be able to withstand that. But you're right, Nathan. That would be the pinch point if you're trying to beat him, where you certainly would look to break him. But I wouldn't expect that. You know who's having a good ride today? But well, Noah Balt certainly has been impressive, and James Young of the VCRT Doggos also representing well up here as we take a look at the guys right now leading the chase. But this is the man of the hour, our leader, the American Daniel Jamrosik here of Restart. But Nathan, they've now got him. It's interesting what 10 seconds looks like when you're on the flat versus on the climb. Well, that's him just up the road now because we're on a relatively steep pitch, or, well, not that steep, 4% grade, but it starts to go up here.
Start talking about the teams a little bit here that are still represented. And as you did see, Noah Balk is still here for WEZ. Doesn't have anybody with him, though, I don't believe. It's going to be solo at this point. BHC is still here. I am hearing Steven Ludendorff is hanging out here, cheering him on. He's part of that BHC team, so great to see them out there. But VCRT still with 2 riders in here. WLC also with 2 riders still in and amongst the pack here. Alexander as well as Hasim, the big sprinter here. Fusion Den with only 1. Going to be kiting. It is going to be as well Kroniger here. Now, is this rider riding unattached, perhaps, the German rider? I'll have to wait and see, look through a little bit. But that's the current situation as far as the team situation. And VCRT, the only ones that, as well as WLC, that have 2 riders in this front group.
I'm really impressed with your pronunciation of Kroniger. I absolutely think that's correct, and I don't know if I would have gotten there on my own, Nathan. Very good job. As there's a couple now, Nathan, can you tell me your experience with Hassan Yassim? Have you seen him in high-level ZRL sprints? I'm not super familiar. Obviously, a super experienced rider would make some big numbers. I mean, that 15-second power is over 12,000 watts, 1242.
1,200.
Again,
1,200.
12,000
watts would be
1,200, excuse me. But he weighs, I was going to say 750. No, he weighs 75 kilograms. So I'm going to move my decimal points into the right place. But on paper, that is just massive numbers. Those are world-class sprint numbers.
Yeah, 100%. We'll see how this ends up playing out here. We do have, actually, this is great to see here from Yassim, as he, if you did not know, is actually live streaming over on YouTube. He's got a solid 11 viewers.
Oh, great.
To see. So, great to have these streamers as always out on course. You can check out a lot of this information is available actually as well over on their Zwift Power. A lot of times people will link things up. So if you check out Zwift Power profiles, you can find it right on over there. So the team here,
I'd like to point out now. Yeah, David Desmecht is still in this group. Nathan, remember the Belgian rider who was fighting hard to rejoin the group a couple of times earlier? Well, he's tucked right into this group right now. It really shows you how you never know what these riders are going through, the fight that they have to in the first third, the middle part of the race. But if he ends up on the podium, remember the heart that he showed 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, I mean, now this what I want to real quickly here get an idea around
Kroniger,
because I thought maybe just no name tag, but he's actually riding for Gorillas and Butterflies Race Club riders. This is an interesting GBRC.
Of course he is.
It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 riders on this team. I'm loving it. It's a triathlon club out of Berlin. So very cool little name there. 29 minutes to start of the Western Europe, just so everybody knows. We are covering all across Europe. So if you're looking for the Western Europe, that will be coming up in 29 minutes. But Kroniger here out of Germany with this hilarious
Is that so name. G is the gorilla, B is the butterfly,
Butterflies
RC
Race Club. Yeah.
That's awesome. It's sort of like the Beauty and the Beast vibe, I guess. But that must be, I'm going to guess the butterflies are the ladies and the gorillas are the dudes.
And Gen Z, David made it back on terms. I didn't think he actually
That's what I'm saying. He's right in this group. Like he's comfortable in the group now. That's what I was saying, Nathan. He almost got dropped twice earlier. Look at him now. Good job,
Back in
David.
here.
David.
Amazing job.
Yeah.
Great job here. We do have some little bit of Brande coming in here. Julian van der Brand coming in and giving a little bit of encouragement. And now it is going to be our man of the hour that you did say, at least for the first hour. We'll see if this ends up paying off in the second half of this race. But Daniel off the front again for restart, trying to get things going.
Eddie Cool crushed that dream there. You could see the South African did a lot of work to neutralize Jamrosic. So, hey, listen, Eddie very well could win this race, but he's been basically riding like his own teammate, hasn't he, Nathan? He did the work of chasing back the early break. Now he's going to have to finish the races. So he's fighting on two fronts out here. Always impressive. But I think it's fair to say with our classics here, there is no dominant team. This is much more of a, only the strong survive. That kind of scenario here is you don't have a lot of teammates to chase things back for you. None of these guys has that resource, I would say. Wahoo Nicole a little bit.
Want to speak to something here on something that we won't see a whole lot. The VCRT boys, I believe VCRT is West Coast US, if I'm not incorrect. But maybe it's an American team. I thought if VCRT. I'm gonna double check some of this. I mean, I am seeing Beckers is coming out of the Netherlands, but interesting. Well, James Young's also though coming from the UK.
I
so
saw
maybe
that.
I'm confusing it. I'm maybe confusing it with another team here because I'd just be watching out for them. I don't think that they're messing around out here today. And maybe kind of the sleepers on the day though for some reason. I just get the idea that they've been really playing their cards well as we see Beckers heading to the front. The heart rates are low. Watch out for VCRT today.
I will always trust your opinion, Nathan. I learned that a long time ago. As you look at this group now, don't you get the feeling that we've kind of weathered the storm and everybody's taking some inventory, looking around, because this is the group that you're going to be racing out of for the win. We've got a feel for what these guys have. Clearly, Daniel has some good legs when we go uphill. But now, at this point, you got to think that Hassan Yassim is liking where he's at.
So quickly, I was totally wrong on the VCRT team. They're a different team than what I was thinking of. But this is going to be an esports team, actually. It's called Vicious Cycle Race Team. They have like the longest description for a team I've ever seen on Zwift Power. I'm not kidding you. Like this is
Can you sum it up?
Awesome to see.
Can you sum it up for me?
Zwift Racing League, VCRT Cup, the VCRT Road Race. They do the WTRL Team Time Trial. They do special events. They have transparency, so they're all about making sure everybody weighs in, has awesome setups. They have a team ethos. They have a website. They have a Strava club. They have a Facebook group. I mean, head on over there, check them out because this is like absolutely awesome to see. I'm loving how much information is here. They have a recurring series actually of 5 to 6 races too in this VCRT Cup that they put on. But Eddie Uhl is he don't care.
He
says I don't care who the VCRT is. Yeah, he's like I'm on the front again. And after Daniel has put the hurt on, I'm just going to put the hurt back on the front here. And here we go. We are on the forward KOM, and he is trying to whittle this down once again. And he's doing it. It's strung out, and that's what you want to see. You do not want to see people lined. You want to see them lined up and separating. You do not want to see a group together on this climb. You want as many to fall off the pace as possible, and he has put at least 3 off the back, maybe 4.
Eddie Rocket Fuel Uhl on the front right now. He is blasting here, and this is going to destroy this bike race now. So let's see who's going to respond. I have a feeling our man right now, again, Hassan Yassim, is really going to be up against it now. This is like watching a prize fighter who's on the ropes here, just throwing body blow after body blow at him. If he can survive this, it's going to be very, very interesting. Looks like Sven Rosek getting a shout out. Come on, Berlin Hot Cranks, and I love it. That kind of attitude. Keep it going. That's what you got to do right now. 4 seconds.
I don't think it's going to happen. Oh, man. So close for Rosic here now. Here we go with Theme. Theme almost getting dropped. Not expecting this. Hassan going as well. I saw him at 12 watts per kilogram for a moment. Is Hassan going to get dropped? That's what they need to do. They need to get rid of the sprinter. 4 watts per kilogram here at this point. Will they be able to get rid of the big man? It is right on the edge here. And Yassim, 3.9. It might be over for him. Will he have a kick, though? I know he's got a kick left in the legs here. If he can get across, is going to be the question. 9.5, but Young's kicking at the front here. Eddie, gone. Yassim makes it happen, it looks like here. Young now, 2 seconds back. Thiem now as well, able to make this easily, actually. I thought he was dropping off, but he almost makes it over the top in third here. Hassan, 11 watts per kilogram. One last kick to the wheel here, but is it going to be enough? 0 watts. Oh, my goodness.
No.
Hassan, they had to get rid of him.
He's back. They didn't. He's fought through. This is absolutely a stunner now. Oh boy, this goes back and forth. What's going on? His bike zeroed out again. Now he's back on it. Another massive power surge. This is going to be very interesting. He's got the super tuck. I think that he's going to do it. The Irishman is going to be in the conversation as Hassan Yassim here is the Wahoo Lacole rider who is right on the ropes. I mean, he's literally got the fight judge trying to count him out. He's standing back up. He is throwing everything more coal on the fire, Nathan. I think he gets back in. Oh, my goodness. Did Eddie?
Look at Eddie. He's 11 seconds off the front. He's 11 seconds off the front. Hassan weighs 75 kilograms here, and that's gonna be such an advantage to him on this downhill. But this group might be able to roll still. We'll see. The speed is there, but look, no, it's slowed down too much. I think they're gone. Is he there?
Holy cow. I don't think so. I think he's going to get in, Nathan, but it's going to take this. He's using up so much gas. His burn rate is so high right now.
Is he even going to have a sprint left? Is he even going to have a sprint left is the question. So many matches burned.
I mean, literally, he's not a match. He's a human blowtorch right now, and he's got to be wondering is there any fuel left in the tank. This is a real fight. I tell you, at the very front of the bike race, sometimes you see real heroics, and we're going to go flashback now, flashing forward to, well, okay, this is the chase.
We're all over the place. We're all over the place. It's everywhere. I mean, Eddie might be gone. He might just be gone, though.
To be honest, my prediction would be this. If we just, in this moment in time, Eddie's not coming back. Eddie Uhl wins this bike race. Hassan Yassim might be able to rejoin that group, but I don't think that they catch this man.
Christoph Thiem says, no, this is so great. I mean, it's just back and forth and back and forth. I mean, this reminds me of like a WWF where it's like, what was the Royal Rumble? It's the Royal Rumble, man.
The Rumble in the jungle. Holy
just throwing everybody into the ring over and over again here. Yassim is gone. He's gone.
He's done.
It's over.
They knocked out the champ. They knocked out the champ. This is on. So that was a big moment in esports history right there. You saw a sprinter give everything he had. And unfortunately, that anvil he had to carry up the climb with them wasn't enough to help him rejoin the group on the way back down. This is back to the front. This is your gold standard. But look at that, Nathan. They are right there. They look like they might make the catch. Noah Balch is phenomenal today. David Desmek is still there. Christoph Thiem is there. Jason Young is there. Nathan, this is the best racing I've seen in a very long time. Okay. Lock this one down. That's Jason Young of the VCRT team. Who is with him? Christoph Thiem is there. No doubt about it. We talked about Daniel Jemrozek. He was very impressive in the first half of the race. He's looking to back that up here in the second half. Nathan, does it get better than this? Wow.
Been so incredibly close. And now the thing is there's so much mayhem. Like, when you have a race situation like this and people are chasing here, people are chasing there, attacks are going here, who's going to do the work now? There's no organization. You start losing the order of what is happening and how you start losing. Well, you start losing track of like who's put what efforts where, when, exactly like a bar fight. There's a haymaker here. I don't know what's that. A chair's flying over here. You have no idea.
Went sailing by. Yeah, exactly. Someone just a whole bunch of change hit the ground. But right now, this is what we do know. After a vicious attack from Daniel Jemrozek, that was brought back over the climb, and Eddie Uhl countered and opened up about a 12-second advantage. Then the pressure was on to hold off the big sprinter, and they got rid of him. They punched his ticket as Hassan Yassin was unable to hold the wheels. This is the scene now, Nathan, as we come into 4K to go.
Another one.
David goes, the Belgian, who was getting dropped 20 kilometers ago. This guy, people were counting him out. David Desmick, the Belgian for Gen Z, is back on the attack. Oh my, ooh la la, what a race, what a finale.
And now it's going to be priority T. Eddie Uhl, he makes it back to him here. Daniel, who's been off the front over and over again. Can he get across? He's looking to drop off Noah Balk. And out of all the riders, who's been very quiet, who's got a serious Noah Balk. Noah Balk has been so quiet. I have not seen him stick his nose in the wind once, I don't think. And Noah is a cagey rider, smart rider, and he might be waiting for that opportune moment, that last-ditch effort. What has he got left in the tank is going to be the question, or has he just been hanging on? And no! Out of all the riders that get dropped, Christoph Thiem, ZRL top talent is gone. This is amazing racing here in this classic. It doesn't get more classic than this.
When they say a race is bananas, this is what they are talking about. I wouldn't have predicted that. I was expecting a late race blistering attack from Christoph, but Christoph is now himself struggling. It seems like it's like 10 little Indians, and then there were 9, and then there were 8, and now you've got Jason Young going up over the top, and it looks like Noah was listening, Nathan, because there goes Noah. So the World Elite Zwifters rider in the blue jersey, this is it. We are down to 5, and that's going to be, oh my goodness, Nathan, does Eddie Uhl have one more attack in him? This is
He's pulled it back together over and over again, too. Eddie Uhl has been the man to bring this back over and over again.
He's racing like 5 guys. He's racing like 5 different guys out here today.
Now, will Daniel go again? I mean, he's been off the front. Eddie's been off the front. Then Desmitz tried giving a little bit of a go here just a moment ago. Got shut down pretty quickly here, the Belgian rider. I mean, between all of them, as far as favorites go, I would have said Christoph Thiem was actually a favorite here. Now he's off the back now at this point.
I got to go with Eddie Cool, to tell you the truth. But my heart is with David Desmick as your never give up rider. He was struggling to rejoin the group a couple of times, and that never say die attitude is what makes you into a champion. That's the champion standard. Nathan, around the world, there are millions and millions of bike riders, but there's only a few bike racers, and that's the 10 little Indians comment I was making. That I don't know if you read that book, Nathan, but that's and they were 8. And then there were 7. Well, then there were 5 in this group. Who's going to win this one? You know who really, again, everyone deserves it, but Daniel Jemrosik has done a little extra out here today. Certainly wouldn't mind seeing him on top of the podium. But Eddie, they call him Eddie Cool. I call him Eddie Uncool, the way he's crushing dreams out here today.
Young now to the front, shuts it right on down. Balk now, as you can see, here we go. Daniel now sitting in after those attacks. Eddie now 4.8, and this is going to be the last little kick. This is the final little bump in the road here. There is an opportunity. We saw it go away in the Tour de Oz over the winter here. Will we see it here in this situation right now? We haven't seen it yet today. Will it happen right here next to the reservoir? We got about 1.5K to go, and nobody really giving a kick right here. They're kind of watching each other. As you'd see, keeping powder dry, no 6 watts per kilogram. Young, they're 7. Noah, I think they're all kind of watching each other.
Watch out for Noah right now. So I'm going to say that the World Elite Zwifter Oral 7 rider, that's the blue jersey, 4th wheel. He knows exactly what he's doing, positioned very well. Okay, Nathan, we have entered the launch code. It was approved. This is going to turn into a rocket ship. So what we've seen is, if you're holding on to a feather, riders are maybe going a little bit earlier. We'll see who's Zwiftcraft, who's got the Z factor going for them. Jemrosik, well positioned right now. This is going to dim New York City's power grid 100 years from now in the future. I
want to know what power-ups they have, because I get a feeling that this has to do with power-ups perhaps from whoever feels good about their sprint. I mean, if there's an arrow in here, feather. I mean, if you had an anvil, it's not doing anything for you really on that
I'd give
downhill,
it to Eddie.
maybe. But
I'd hand it to Eddie if I had an anvil, like the Roadrunner and Coyote, I think, because that's Jason Young on the front right now. It's anybody's race. It really is. Pick your favorite. Strap your seatbelt on because this is going to be nuts. Does Christoph Thiem? Nah, he won't be able to rejoin, unfortunately.
14 seconds.
Every
up
now and then
road
they sit
here.
up for the sprint. Somebody comes up from behind, but it looks like Noah going to surge. There goes World Elite Zwifters. Noah Balch.
Playing with him a little bit. I think he's just playing with. What is going on?
Here
This
goes
is
Eddie.
so early. Why are they going so early? Oh my goodness, Eddie Uhl here trying to get a little bit of a gap
400
here so
meters
early
out.
on. 12 watts per kilogram at this point. Daniel gets to jump on wheel, but does Eddie Uhl got the gap enough here at this point? And he's already used his power up. Here come the aero power ups here. Desmich, Balk. This is
There
a
goes Tim
drawn
Rosick.
out sprint. He's using an anvil. What is happening?
Oh, no.
No, it's
No.
not even downhill.
Oh,
And Young,
no.
Belk to the line. Noah Belk is going to make it happen. No, it's going to be Young VCRT.
Jason Young.
Oh,
What a race. What a
what
win.
an
for
upset
Jason
there.
Young.
I
Oh,
mean,
my
that is
goodness.
huge for VCRT. Up against
That
some
is-
of the
you
best in
got
the world.
Those damn anvils. Wow.
Coyoted. He got coyoted.
You got coyoted, man. Unbelievable way to finish the race. Boy, I'm stunned at how excited. Well, not stunned. We see exciting races here all the time, but that was one of the best we've seen in a while. So many great storylines made it into that group. Gentlemen, thank you for an incredible race. Can you believe we've still got the women out on course? And I am now just realizing, Nathan, I don't know what we're going to see because we do not know if Alessia Polemi has ridden Vicky Nealon off her wheel, if Vicky Nealon has gone over the top of Alessia. Oh, my goodness. What a great day it has been. So the Apple Lap has turned into an instant classic. I have to say, Nathan, I know you've raced out here before. I'd like to see this course used more often. We're going to go back and take a look at the finale of the men's race. Again, that's Noah Balk that we're looking at there on the front, but this is where it all goes down.
Look at this.
Eddie over
this
the
is
top
a
first with the
very early here coming from Eddie Uhl. I mean,
So it
feather
backfires
power
on
up?
just about everybody out here. This was Eddie goes too early, and then unfortunately for Daniel, you're going to see that anvil takes him out of.
you got a black.
My
black
apologies.
screen. Well, yeah, thanks a lot, Dave. I don't think you made that happen. For some reason, it just went black on us forever. It just didn't care to record for that second for some reason here. But now, Daniel, I mean, I think he was fading anyways, though. If you do look at the watts per kilogram, it does look like it was coming down. And look at the timing, though. And the timing from Young is so perfect,
He was
actually.
patient. That was
Very
experience.
patient. Followed
Yeah.
wheels. Watch how he plays this through here as he
Gosh.
comes from middle of the pack right here, doesn't actually stick his nose in the wind, jumps on the wheel of Noah Balk, and then kicks at 13 watts per kilogram the moment it heads downhill, gains that speed, and that was the situation, and it goes to black again. So
He dimmed
that's
the
an
power
interesting-
grid.
He did. That was a complete dimming of the power grid coming in from.
Good for him. That's
From Young.
the biggest win that I've personally witnessed for Jason Young for VCRT. That was a big one. And certainly, this is how you make your mark in esports. A memorable ride like that against a high-quality group. And Nathan, all that work that Eddie Uhl did earlier, you can see how you eventually have to pay the piper.
100%. No, we are going to jump on over here. Is that the same jersey? I'm not sure.
She's unbelievable. This is raves. Do you have your rave music still queued up somewhere? Because I think you might want to play it if we do. Unfortunately, not a big EDM or rave fan, but Alessia Polemi is forcing me to make a request because she is my rider of the year here in 2021 so far, Nathan. Yeah, there it
It's
is.
like,
Thank you, boss.
He is going to bring
Do you
it
have
on
this
in
just
here.
queued up somewhere? I assume it's always the same. So you're always ready to go there.
I
in
don't even
production,
do it.
yeah,
it
cool.
just happens. They show up
really?
and all of a
That's
sudden it
magic,
just
huh?
plays. It's just magic. It just starts showing up in the broadcast. I don't even know what's happening. No,
So
Ray here is doing an amazing job.
Drexel University is where Alessia is a professor, also a parent. This is a mom indoors riding trainer, and someone that I'm a big fan of. We actually, as you mentioned earlier, we heard after last week's race, some very nice comments and feedback, and it's a mutual admiration society, I should say, because this is going to be a lot of fun to watch. I've brought it up before, Nathan, how because of people's in real life commitments, whether it's teaching, work, parenting, whatever it might be, not everyone can race. So I'm not sure, honestly, whether we'll be back on Mondays or Tuesdays with the Premier League. I do know the Platinum League will be on Thursdays with W World. So I guess my point here was that I'm not sure if she's going to be able to race in the Premier League, but she would fit right in. That's for sure.
Great question.
Vicky Nealon at 124 back, McKinley at 211, Strasser at 331. That's the only real group. Meredith Davies is the rider right there, just a couple seconds behind. They're actually together now.
Yeah, it does look like a little bit of a chase going on here for third place. No, actually, Davies is actually off the back here, it looks like. So it's going to be McKinley, Veland,
know.
And Polemi here. So the inside rider here battling out with Crush Pod and Draft, though.
Nathan, have you ever seen Rave racing in the WTRL, the World Tactical Racing League? I don't know that I don't have a memory of that. I would really encourage them to do that, race on Thursdays. It's incredibly fun.
I believe they have. I think they have. Yeah, I think they have.
So I hope
not
that
at the top level though. I think that Polemi is a new addition that's really kind of taken off.
And I hope that they get her out team time trialing, because she's going to want to, if she does get into the ZRL. And again, I'm not saying that she does. Maybe she's got classes that she teaches on Mondays or Tuesdays. But if so, really working on that team time trialing and just getting an understanding and a feel for that will be imperative. This is Maddie Davies that we're looking at here, the Canadian rider on Inside. So this is the biggest group that we've got together out on course.
Yeah, a little bit of a situation happening here, that's for sure. It's going to be a battle as Strother, the Crush Pod. Always good to see Crush Pod out there.
We actually have a Gontova situation going on. One solo rider absolutely crushing today.
So we have a Gontova situation coming up on World of Zwift?
We do. Actually, we've got a V-win situation coming up for our very next one. And then a Gontova situation will follow.
Absolutely awesome. Loving it. So,
can I tell you how...
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, the editing team, Nathan, you have a good feel for how all of this production works, actually doing everything at Zwift Community Live. But the editing part of any show is really where the hard work happens, in my opinion. And we've been really lucky to be working with a guy, a new Zwift employee named Harry Double, who's just a great guy. And don't we have amazing colleagues at Zwift? I've never worked with a group of people I enjoy more. And Harry is part of that family. Part of the reason I'm saying that is because Harry is asking me to do some voiceover stuff for that show after we're done here. So always on it, always moving forward, right?
Always moving forward. Brandon, it's a great question coming on in over on the YouTube channel. We'll be taking a look across a lot of the categories and figuring out what makes the most sense for the broadcast. I appreciate the question. And each and every week, we'll take a look through who's signed up, where and when, and how that is panning across, and trying to get in with whichever categories make sense for the broadcast. But yes, we will try to jump across to those. Some of the other categories in the classics, and C2 and probably C3 a little bit as well. So thanks for the question. And yes, Brandon, we will get across to a few of the other categories throughout the classics. Again, the classics, they are going all the way through to August 31st. So make sure to keep an eye out on that. Next event is starting. It looks like we're going to not join that right this second as we wait for Polemi to get across the line, a little bit of a power up there, and she's going to take down the win.
The power up just to put a little frosting on top of the pain cake for everyone else, right? Wow. What an athlete. And Vicki Nealon, I am sure that as we start ramping up for season 4, that we'll be talking quite a bit more about the class act Vicki Nealon here.
100%.
Always love Heino.
Only 39 seconds back, though, for McKinley. What quite a ride here coming in for McKinley. Very impressed, actually.
How do you think this would do on the Anna Russell scale? I like it. Do you think Anna would?
For the well, I mean, orange is
style,
like her uncool thing, but as far as style goes, the socks are working. It's got the black. I mean, actually, look at the black shoes, black gloves. She's got black shorts, and then I mean, it's actually really well done here. The white accents are perfect when you're looking at the helmet, to the middle of the jersey, to the legs, and then a little bit of white Z with the orange socks, orange bike, orange top. I mean, yeah, this is about as good as it gets when it comes to style, for sure, for McKinley here.
So all you could say then for Anna Russell, our colleague, is that orange thing is just your opinion, man. Because this is well thought out, well crafted. This is not a lazy athlete here. This is someone who's really spent her time getting all her kit and bike. I don't think bike counts as kit, but your kit can reflect the bike design for sure. All right, so almost there.
Third place, across the line. We still got Western Europe to go here. 2:47 to the start of the men's race. We're going to go through the results, though, here for the Central in just a moment. Just finishing up. We'll see if I can bring these right on in. I think I've got New Zealand queued up actually instead. So we'll get those in, and as we do, the finish is done here for McKinley. She's across the line. Draft and a few others here are starting to make things happen to finish up their race in the top 5. Men's race for the Zwift Classics about to take off. As you can see, this is going to be the Western with 2 guys. Veritas, this is that. Okay, I had some. I had some.
Did you get some info?
No, they were just wondering if I know how to pronounce it still. Were we not pronouncing it correctly? I thought we were doing well.
I felt like we finally figured that out. At least we came to an agreement amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
So Veriteus is, yeah. Oh boy, here we go again.
We just need to get them in the broadcast, and they just need to tell us what we're doing. Like, I mean,
actually, you know what? Right. So there's a little bit of a lost in translation. So my thought was that was the Portuguese way of saying truth. We'll see.
And that's what I thought. I thought you were right about that. I thought you were spot on.
We felt good about it at the time, but we've also thought we were right and we're wrong before.
Facts and feelings are Dave. Facts and feelings.
Yes,
Jay Young here coming on through.
Yes.
Jay Young coming on through here. 46-39. Takes it ahead of Noah Balker. Eddie he was probably the most aggressive rider on the day. Well, him and Daniel right on the cusp there of that red.
Yeah.
That red
hard
jersey.
to make a call there.
Yeah, that one's a tough one. For sure, but then it's going to be Desmond coming on through for that 4th place there. Daniel there for 5th. A restart. And Thiem off the back by 26 seconds, getting dropped in those last 5K or so. So that's going to be Beast Mode in 6th there. Beckers for 7th. Holding off Kroniger there for 8th. Rozek for 9th for the BHC, with the team cheering him on in chat. But then Yassim, after getting dropped, still holds on for 10th place. But they worked it out, man. If they would have brought him to the line. Oh.
And look at the difference there. After he gets dropped, he pedals on in, but 2 minutes and 34 back. It was entirely possible if he was just a little bit just closer to that front group over the top of that climb that he could have won.
It was 2 seconds. It was like 1 second. It was like 50 meters was the difference between that 234 or not. I mean, crazy how that ended up playing out. So incredibly close.
It shows you how courses suit horses, as they say. Let's take a look at the women.
Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, so Alessia Polemi gets it done, and certainly now we're beyond a fluke situation because Vicky Nealon is world class, and you can see that she's going to take the silver medal today. McKinley for third, and I think we've actually got riders still finishing right now is going to be my guess. We'll wait for that next update to come through because they just came across the line. But that was Central Europe. That was a lot of fun. As a matter of fact, I don't know, Nathan. I haven't had that much fun calling a race for a long time. What we saw there on the men's side of things here. And Alessia Polemi, you are my hero.
This has actually been really amazing racing all across the board, actually.
It's been great.
Yeah, even in the APAC as well. Anna and I had an awesome time this morning calling that race as well. So it's been very tight racing. Amazing job all around. And this course is really always keeps things really, really exciting. Now we are in with, and look at this. Oh, boy. Is this going to be Adam Zimmerman? Is that right?
Oh,
Zim
wow.
Jumping in on here. So most likely
Been a
live
while
as well. So watch out for Zim. And what is this kit that he's wearing? Oh, this is the new insured kit. What?
Looks
Interesting
great.
to see. It used to be white. Now they've got the wings on the back here. Pedal power. We're seeing Evoque bike on there. So good to see some new kit in game. And Adam Zimmerman, watch out for him.
Yeah.
This is obviously going to be a favorite. I mean, this is former U.S. national champion of Zwift here. So top rider, that's for sure, especially on a climber course like this. I think he's racing at elevation, though, today, if I'm not incorrect, as he usually does.
So when I first became aware of Adam Zimmerman, he was living in New York City. And then you're absolutely right, Nathan. He moved to Boulder, Colorado. But if my memory serves me, he has since moved again and is not at altitude. I want to say he's living in Iowa or somewhere like that. So we'll get the details for you. But certainly, Nathan, for me, it seems like it's been a year since I've seen Adam Zimmerman out racing. I might be wrong. Absolutely could be wrong
the
there.
Broadcast races, but he's definitely been racing, in.
So
in
I
the
should
world,
say,
yeah.
like, exactly, in our high end of Zwift Community Live races. Right. Good point.
100%.
But he's back. That's great to see.
Yeah, watch out for Zimmerman. I mean, he's always, and then, I mean, this is going to be a who's who type race here. I mean, we've got Diavola here from Deepak Elite as well. And then the new Veritas team here. So Jet is in here. This is going to be a no-joke race. This is the who's who for sure when it comes to the Western Europe. Brantes now. And now Dobson, though, but Madero's here off the front. Team Vegan giving us a little bit of a kick as the bull. And he actually, I loved it. This is going to be from last week. He was on Twitter asking, how did I end up with the nickname the bull? I'm not sure what exactly I did to deserve that, but this is going to be our man, the vegan, Zico Torre, Cameron right now.
Nathan, would you do me a favor and help me on the research? Because the numbers, so there's a rider named Rui Oliveira here. Now, there's a Rui Oliveira in the Pro Tour, World Tour rider on the same team that just won the Tour de France, actually, UAE, United Arab Emirates. So that, I'm going to guess, is the kind of name like John Smith in the United States, that there's multiple people who have that name. I'm a little bit doubtful that a World Tour rider, I guess the one clue I have is I'd be surprised if his 15-second power was at 10 watts per kilo. I would think it would be higher if you're in the World Tour.
For the Veritas team, is that who you're talking about here?
Yeah, exactly. 4.6 watts per kilo doesn't get you into the World Tour, to be honest, at 20-minute power. So this must be a different Rui.
Yeah, it is definitely, I believe, a different Rui mountain bike in the
same name though, same exact name.
Yeah, Portugal. I'm not seeing any.
But you know what I'm saying?
No, definitely
this is
not.
but this is the John Smith.
Now, speaking though of top talent,
that's where
here, Zimmerman's giving a go here. Vola says it's a if shoe. Abrante is going across. Electric Spirit Company's there as well with Humpton. Medeiros now. Nunes. Bruce. Bruce here out of Germany. The Bull himself. Zico from Team Vegan has got quite the representation here as they make their way through here. Cross from Team Dirt is there as well. Is that going to be Sam or here?
Huh.
Yeah, it is going to be Sam Cross as well. So, I mean, this is the F Cancer team is here, and then it's going to be just trying to hang on. Dobson, Latmir's going across here, the Irishman in the old school level 20 kit. Los Pintos, and then this is going to be your man Rui. Just trying to hang on. Yaguchi there from Jet as well.
Variathus stands as the most successful leader who ever opposed the Roman conquest in Iberia. Iberia is the Spanish, Portugal. I don't think any other countries make up Iberia, although I would certainly stand to be corrected. But so, oh boy, Nathan, help refresh my memory. The women's standalone races that we had with the Irish English woman who stood up against the Roman Empire. We did a series of races with them about a year ago.
Eonian, you're talking about the Eonian stuff that was going on.
Yeah. So, what was the name of the race that they put on?
Don't you put me on the spot
yes,
now as well?
So I'm so sorry, but so this is the Portuguese equivalent of that. So it was the only guy who stood up against the Romans there in Spain or Portugal that had any success. That's what that team name refers to.
A little bit of a gap here. Bronte's here, Vola, and I appreciate the history there. It's always great. I'm loving, especially when they bring in these like epic characters in history. It's so great. It's so incredibly great, actually. Here, race prediction coming from Drumtoe here, saying Zim, Zim, and more Zim, and I don't think that's a bad prediction. I mean, one of the most experienced racers.
Fun to say too
in the world of Zwift here, but 10 watts per kilogram kick here. The anvil up ahead. That's going to be difficult to close down for a lighter rider. I think it's going to come back 4 off the front. This is the perfect setup actually to get away though, because 4 is enough. Zim needs to get on terms now if he wants to be a part of this. He's not actually kicking when it's at the moment that he needed to, so they're going to go away a little bit more here. Those meters need to be shut down. He's going to do so though. And if they get together here, a couple more riders on the chase. It's only 5 seconds back to a pretty large group, but I think it's possible here. And these boys might have their work cut out for them. Those 5 up front definitely got the firepower to keep away.
Well, you have every reason in the world to work together, Nathan, don't you? I mean, that's really what bike racing is all about. When you see that you've got an opportunity to try to exploit that, a big part of bike racing is trying to convince other people to do, much like Tom Sawyer, right? Where isn't that story that he convinces a bunch of other kids to help him paint the fence, and then ultimately they all paint the fence with his encouragement? Well, same kind of thing of riding in a group. You want to get everybody working hard and believing in it, and then deploy your tactics in the finale. But you've got to get some help to win bike races at this level. And you can see things have really split up in the early going. Again, if you're just joining us, this is our Western European Apple Lap Classic, and a really strong group of Portuguese riders make up, Nathan, for the first time in the last bunch of races that we've done together here this afternoon in America, we're seeing one team that really brings some numbers. But look how this has all been welded back together here after that first benchmark climb out there. Did Zim make it? Yes, he did. So there you go. Adam Zimmerman of the Insured team showing us some world-class. Is that Twitch that he's on there, Nathan?
He's actually streaming on YouTube, and we're giving away a little bit of information as he's not covered up his anvil power-up. He usually covers up his power-ups from what I remember here, but that's going to be the situation over on YouTube right now as Zim sits in. 149 beats per minute, looking pretty steady here. It doesn't look like he's under any pressure whatsoever. It did come all back together here, so solid ride here so far from Adam Zimmerman as we jumped in with his live stream over there.
Looks like he's in A wind tunnel with that fan that he's got going
He's
there.
probably got like some of
Industrial
the
strength.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the way to go though. I mean, I've got next to me right now a 24-inch high velocity drum fan and literally a air conditioner right out the window directly on me as well. So I mean, that's the way that you do it when it comes to keeping cool
Oh,
for
yeah.
indoor training.
Like an industrial chicken coop fan or something, you know what I mean? Like beyond extra. All right. Well, this is almost, I'm going to say 15 riders here in this front group. As
This is
if you're
coming
here
back.
now,
This is
yeah,
not.
it is.
This isn't staying away. I don't think.
It might be a 30 rider group here, actually.
Looking back here,
Surprising.
I mean, yeah, I think this is gonna come back together here. As they're gonna calm on down. They have to do a little bit of work now. The front end of the pack, they're gonna. I think they've. I think the initial kick, they said enough is enough, and as you can see, they don't think that it's really worth working against each other at this point, or with each other. Excuse me, at this point to hold off that pack. They dropped them the first time, so probably most likely going to be just fine with however this ends up playing out. As the can drop them a second time if need be.
You know, you've heard me say that one before, Nathan. Like after this chase back, they've made a huge effort. Now, as David, the Belgian, was proving to us in the previous race, every now and then you're going to have that rider that maybe had a bad moment, maybe some type of a technical, but is going to be there in the finale. And it really is the hallmark of being a bike racer is never giving up. If you have a junior rider that you work with or anyone who's new to the sport, that's really the first thing that you try to instill in anyone is that just keep pedaling and good things will eventually start to happen. But number one thing is don't quit. And just like Tim Humpton right there, the Scottish rider on Electric Spirit Company, it's all about heart. There's no doubt about it. And ability is something that you can really work on, but heart is something you either have or you don't. And if you don't have it, I wouldn't even say don't bother getting into bike racing. It's not going to be a good sport for you.
Oh, Gabs here.
So that's
Luis,
not me being a
Luis
gatekeeper, I'm
Gabs
just
and
saying.
Van Howling. Don't race your bike. Don't even bother.
Well, listen, I'm just saying, Nathan, if you quit stuff and don't really like hard things, then bike racing might not be for you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Let's be honest here.
There's a reality. Bike racing is very difficult. Very, very.
It's not
difficult.
easy sport.
Not an easy
and that's what
sport.
makes it awesome. Isn't that? I mean, if it was easy, as they say, everyone would do it.
I know a lot of people,
I mean,
though, who race like mountain bikes, though, that just get out there for the fun of the race. And
that's fine.
You know, that's
completely
The road
cool.
is a little bit different situation, though. That's for sure. Where it's like you're not just hanging out. there's no
really.
just hanging out on course. That's for sure. It's pretty full gas. So Van Howling and the
Liz,
you know, she's out here along with Gamst. We did have some in the crowd cheering on Gamst. A few fans out there. So good to see Luis making the front group.
Isn't she would have to come in as a prohibitive favorite here. One of a Danish rider that we've seen have tremendous success in esports. I feel bad because Liz Van Howling, she obviously doesn't listen to the Zwift Community Life broadcast while she's racing because she would have heard us questioning whether she was related to Molly Van Howling. We went through all of that, so I'm trying to do a little bit of research here just to see what we can find out. She's a cycling coach who lives in Des Moines, Iowa. We learned that last week. And clearly someone who has plenty of experience in the world of cycling.
Right,
also, I believe is a mom.
Racing as well, which is a recent addition to the world of Zwift when it comes to teams out there, and good to see them making their representation. A little bit different than Vision. It is a different team than the Vision racing team out there, but Pro Vision making their stamp recently in the world of Zwift Racing League for sure.
I think you would enjoy her, Nathan. So she's not only a cool mom, but she's a mountain biker at heart. talking about Liz Van Houweling now. So, and leads racing clinics, is clearly a big part of her cycling community there in Iowa. So, Liz Van Houweling, great to get to know you. Very, very strong racer here. Anyone who can hold the wheel of Louise Gampst is impressive in my book. Looking at the women's race out
Morrison.
here.
This is not bad at all. This is a solid
New
little
Zealander.
effort here. Yeah, and it's 4.6 steady, 145. She's pulling things back in here. Maybe just on the climb suffered a little bit. So good to see the effort here coming in from Morrison.
Looks like she's trying to hold off an Australian, which is all the motivation you need as a New Zealander.
Yeah, there was actually a lot of battles like that going on this morning as well. There was a little bit of chatter about it. It was a lot of fun.
I would love to hear Anna Russell's opinions on. So we have one awesome Australian colleague and one incredible New Zealander in our work group, Nathan. So we really do get the best of the best, don't we, with Kate and Anna?
Sarah Morrison's got a crazy watts per kilogram when it comes to 20 minutes, actually. So she was doing the Try New Zealand Saturday Race League that Anna was commentating on. Has put out some amazing numbers here. So she may be able to bring this back together and pull this back in. Only 6 races, actually, from what I'm seeing.
Those
numbers? That was all the way back, actually. That's way back on in 2020. So she's actually took a big break and just recently got back into racing out on Zwift here. So,
well, if she can start putting up 4.7 watts per kilogram for their 20-minute power again, that's the same number that we've got currently for Alessia Polemi, the Italian living in America now, that just won our previous race in Europe Central. So Sarah Morrison is a rider that I would remember without any doubt. This is Sarah on our screen right now. But Nathan, when you hear 4.7 watts per kilo for 20-minute power, that turns heads.
Yeah, in the women's race for sure. Be on the watch out. We'll see. She's going to bring this back together, it looks like. Closing it right on down. And this is going to be 3 riders up in just a moment. So solid efforts here coming in for the rider out of New Zealand. So Morrison, name to remember. 8 seconds up. So I think she's going to see these riders in just a few moments. She closed on a solid 20 seconds there pretty quickly. Now back in with the men. They're about to start their sprint. Right-hand turn right now and a little bit of a bump. This is the one that's got the timing with the speed over the top here. If you can get a gap, good for you. But if anyone's sitting on and does a second kick over the top, a lot of times carries some speed right on through. Will there be some aero power-ups? Drops the question here.
Almost like a preem in a American criterium, oftentimes the counterattack after these sprints. I love that Martin and Stephen at WTRL have added these elements, the fastest through segments, this added sprints here. And let's see what we've got is Devola here, absolutely rolling. Are they going to come over the top?
Brantes makes it happen.
There it is.
We saw that in the last race as well. Same kind of situation. Will they get the gap?
Does this split? Yeah, does it split the group? It certainly puts some guys into trouble. You can see they're scrambling right now, trying to make sure you don't lose out on a chance to win the bike race here by not contesting that bonus sprint. This should come back together, but you never do know.
It does look like it will, especially with the man Zimmerman there in the chase, I would think, but they're kind of sitting up a little bit. Anybody on the front pushing?
I always, in these situations, Nathan, would look around me and see who was with the group I'm in. And if you see some big names or talented riders that have got the horsepower, you know you're going to be okay. But if you look around and you might be one of the strongest guys, you realize that's your oh boy moment.
Yeah. 100% there. I would have to agree. I mean, you start wondering, okay, am I the only one that's going to be able to do this? And you start sitting up at all.
Am I the biggest? Yeah. Am I not the biggest loser in the meta sense, but am I the guy that really has the most to lose by being in the wrong group? And that's not a good feeling. But there you go, Nathan. It looks like only 1 or 2 riders didn't make the selection, but a couple guys or one rider here getting his ticket punched. Looks like Mundell.
Yeah,
They
and you
sit
can
up for
see
a
here,
minute.
it's all over for Mundell, it looks like. There's 5-6 watts per kilogram, doesn't matter. 38 kilometers per hour. They're doing 41 uphill at this point. 20 rider group. This is the largest group we've actually seen at the in the races so far today. 2 other races, we didn't see this, not even close to this. So a lot more parity across the riders here. A lot of team representation as well. As Veritas there is definitely well represented. Team Vegan as well, still represented. Adam Zimmerman riding solo for in short out there today. But that's the situation. Watch out for Sam Crofts. Again, I'm going to keep on saying that name. I think he's got a good kick to the line for the dirt team. I'm going to keep an eye out there.
Yeah, it's interesting because this race, we see all of these Portuguese flags. And it's been really fun to watch how Zwift has caught on in Portugal. But this is the first time that we see any team here. No, not all of the Portuguese riders there's actually, I think, 3 different teams that have a Portuguese rider representing them at this point. But that the team that we were calling Veritas earlier, and still pretty close to calling it that, although we've learned more about the name. But up at the front here, you start wondering now, one team with 5 riders in this, I wouldn't even call it a selection. This is just the front group that we're looking at now. How do you take advantage of that? Because it looks like the attacks are starting to come here, Nathan. Midpoint of the race, right at this point, we're about halfway home. One major climb, the forward climb to look forward here too.
FA coming across here for the Cancer team here. Magales now as well. Humpton from Electric Spirit Company trying to hang on. It's obviously been one of these days where the attacks are kind of punchier and then calms down. Punchier, then calms down over and over again. Still 20 riders that have made it. And this little uphill gradient here can be a difficult section, of course. Does look like it's calmed down enough, though. Everybody's going to bring it back in. I don't think we're going to see a whole lot happen until we do hit the glass roads next time and the forward KOM. It's, again, the reservoir here on the left-hand side in just a moment. They're going to be going the opposite direction. The hot dog stand right there, that's the moment we saw actually the kick from Eddie. Ooh, right there next to the hot dogs. I wonder if he knew. I wonder if he actually was like, I'm going at the hot dog stand. I'm throwing my feather power up. Going to give it to the doves there next to the hot dog stand, the pigeons.
Don't feed the animals. Number 1 rule. Do not give the pigeons half of your hot dog. It only empowers them. All right. So this is going to be the Scott Electric Spirit Company. You know what? I add company. I don't know why I do that. Electric Spirit. I think it's because the old 70s public education TV show, the Electric Company, that I say that. But electricspirit.co. They are a spirits manufacturer, I think in Scotland, certainly in the United Kingdom, making gin, and the sponsor of Tim Humpton. And that team is a lot of fun to watch. This group, though, rolling along quite nicely here. But nobody's going to make any big plays right now, Nathan, through the middle part of the race. I think everybody realizes we've got one more ascent of the forward climb to look forward to. Might as well keep your powder dry until then.
Yeah, definitely. I think the reality here is that everybody knows that this is going to be super calm up until that point. Let's go ahead and jump into the women's racing, as we did have the catch made. It is going to be Van Houweling. Gamps Morrison making the catch and continuing on here. 145 beats per minute, steady.
Boy.
And 3 riders up. Bennett on the chase with Loker. There's 2 on, it looks like, with Cryogen now. And again, another Electric Spirit rider here. So sitting on the wheel with Loker.
This is extremely encouraging if you're a Sarah Morrison fan. The fact that she's made this catch, in my mind, she's the rider to beat out here. This is a rider who's got tremendous potential in esports. As a matter of fact, much like talking about Alessia Polemi earlier, Sarah Morrison's got potential to be one of the big hitters in the CRL. For sure. If she wants to continue working and work on her Zwift craft here, I'm expecting her to attack this group. Nathan, I don't know about you, but that's my anticipation that the New Zealander is going to make this into a rugged, rugged journey to the finish line for the other two.
I have to agree with that. She continues to just kind of press the pace here. Van Holly now jumping to 6 watts.
Is she a triathlete? Do we know?
I believe so. She did jump in with the tri crowd, and Anna Russell, she's going to be the one to need to ask on that whole front here. I do get the feeling that she most likely is. Now, I have a feeling that she has this very high, steady watts here, but I'm not sure she's got the kicks as she falls off a lot of times when they do punch into those 6+ watts.
No,
I have a feeling it was maybe.
You're exactly right. No, I would say, Nathan, that you have hit the nail squarely on the head here. The longer and harder it is, the better for her. I wouldn't, we all have things to work on in life, right? And I think for her, so they say train to your strength, train to your weakness. Well, in this case, train to your weakness and work on that sprint a little bit, because she's going to be there in some very heady groups, some very select groups, that's for sure. So working on your ability to finish races is going to be the difference between being a great racer or being a real champion. As we take Abrantes, who won our sprint a little bit earlier. Clearly, when a climber is sprinting well, they're climbing phenomenally, and that's exactly what we're looking at right now as we flash back over to the men's race. And Nathan, this is a big moment in that men's race here. This climb, you're not necessarily going to win the race here, but a lot of riders found themselves in a tremendous amount of trouble. And I think Abrantes is more than happy to turn this journey up the climb into a nasty, nasty experience for quite a few riders out here. How's Adam Zimmerman doing? Big watts from that wattage cottage. Wow.
Yeah, we are seeing all the way up into 180 beats per minute. He does have a feather power up to work with here. I think he's going to save that, though, most likely, until the moment that they do hit the climb here. So as Zimmerman now kicks into 445, 449, he's following whatever wheel he possibly can. He knows that when Crofts goes, he knows that when Abrantes goes, the Avola, he knows the wheels to follow. And now as he sees Davolo go, Deepak Elite, who have made the ZRL, I mean, he was one of the main talents on that team to make the Premier division, actually. So he knows the wheels to follow here. He sees Abrantes go, but he knows Avola's really the one to watch. I think that's what's going on here. Zimmerman says, no, I know who is who amongst this crowd, and if Avola goes, I have to follow that. He's not as worried about Abrantes, I think.
And I would encourage him to be worried about Rui Miguel Abrantes here.
Good call. Good call.
As again, though, Adam Zimmerman brings more experience into this race, and that's the rider in the blue insured kit right in the middle of your screen. Nathan, I don't know of anyone. I mean, he's one of the OGs for sure. If you go back to your 5 years ago, Adam Zimmerman. Well, you tell me. He wasn't one of the first guys, but when Zwift really started catching on with the esports racing, it seems to me like Adam Zimmerman was right there. You mentioned he was the American champion just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, 2018 American champion. He definitely is going way, way back. Not, you're right, though, not 2015, but he going into 2016, 2017, definitely a part of the conversation. So about as far back as in real life esports events go, Zimmerman is right on the second wave, I would say. Not a part of the first Roanoke or Las Vegas, London, but after that wave, get involved in a lot of that early CVR stuff. He was actually a qualifier for the Long Beach SARS event as well. He did race live there. I did a live interview actually there with him as well. So Adam Zimmerman, huge part, and then later getting picked up by the insured crowd. I mean, this is going back 3+ years minimum. So definitely one of the most experienced on the day. So watch out for the tactics from this rider.
It's funny.
One other thing I would say here is that he's a part of this crew that has so much experience that he's held on at the top level, regardless of the reality of how much all the boats have risen to this. Like, it was kind of like you had, I don't want to downplay American soil racing, but it's like the North Americans and this side of the world go over to Europe and we get our teeth kicked in a little bit, kind of a thing. All of a sudden, it was like the level went up a notch or two in all of Zwift racing, but his experience in knowing how to play the game has kept him in the storylines every time. Look at it, he's going across here knowing that this is a move right now.
Yeah. Well, this is a big moment. Nathan, we're looking at Zimmerman. You chose the perfect rider to be following right now. Zimmerman is going from station to station like an astronaut on wheels here as he's going to join our front group. And this should have alarm bells ringing for everybody back behind us. So FA from that F Cancer team, we talked about Rui Abrantes. Devola is there, and Zimmerman going to join this group, and I think just in the nick of time. Who else just made it across? That's going to be Magalhães, isn't it? So another one of the Portuguese riders is. Wow, Nathan. It looks like we've got a possible 5-rider group, although they're attacking left, right, and center right now.
Look at this effort here. 185 beats per minute currently coming from Zimmerman. You can see the suffering on the face here to try and make this move. It looked like he was pretty calm to get there. Now a little bit of suffering in the eyes, though, as you can see here. He's in and involved. He's sitting at the back, playing it smart, saving the feather power up, as you can see. And it is a 4-second gap, but I'm not sure the riders behind have the kind of firepower needed to bring this back together here. They're all working together fairly well. 4.9 on the front, 5.3. Dobson only at 3.0 from WLC. This could stay away, but they need to start rotating through. They cannot just sit here and look at each other. This is all for nothing if they do not work right now.
Boy, and you can see everybody's trying to get theirs without sharing any with the group, and that's not going to be, as Nathan said, you're exactly right, Nathan. They've got to sync up here a little bit, cooperate if they want to take the top 5 and roll away with it. And I have a feeling there's enough experience in this group that these guys are going to do exactly that. Again, we're looking at the vanguard of our men's race right now. I'm trying to see, FA is a Swiss rider that we're looking at on that F Cancer team. This is going to be Andrade, his teammate here, Luis Andrade, also in the race, but that's the Swiss rider that we're talking about here, tucked right into the middle of this group. Everybody but one on a Tron bike, and that is FA.
Yeah, interesting on the bike selection here. He's on a Bridgestone. I didn't even know that was in the game. What is going on?
I didn't even know that brand was still alive, actually. So
that's amazing. Like, what? Wow.
It doesn't say Bridgestone.
That's a B.
No,
that is a B. Yeah,
okay,
that's Bridgestone. That's amazing. I have not seen that bike, I don't think, ever. I've never seen that bike in game. How did he get that, is what I want to know.
It's funny, if you're a guy my age in your mid-50s, Bridgestone was, I don't know if you would even know the Bridgestone brand because it went away in the 90s as far as being sold at bike shops in America. But back in the 70s and 80s, there were some really high-quality Japanese bikes, Bridgestone, Miata, Fuji. Fuji's still around, but you don't really see Miata.
I gotta get some Eric Schlange Zwift Insider info on when this was put. I mean, how did this end up in the game? Here's what I want to know. When did Zwift decide that they were going to go this like retro, old school, or what is going on with that? That's amazing.
Yeah, because Bridgestone is a brand that still exists, but I am really surprised. I know there's a whole bunch of new stuff in the fresh release that Zwift has. Is that Bridgestone bike the first time you've ever seen it?
Might as well stop talking. I've ever seen. I think it is the first time I've ever seen that. Let's see if it can hang on here though for FA.
Well, we're going to find out how fast these Bridgestones are. As he's in there, no problem. He's going to make this surge. You can see it's gone up to 13%. Very, very steep group right behind them, although that's a little bit deceiving. That camera angle has them looking closer than they are because that's more than just a handful of seconds. You know who's doing a great job here is Adam Zimmerman. With all of his experience, to have him with you at 25K into a 34K race, I would be very, very concerned about that as well. Here we go.
Well,
are these 5 going to hold on?
It's common in Japan. It's a great point that's coming on through. So in the recent Zwift update that just dropped, it does look like it did get
They're
released
just not sold in
alongside
the
of
U.S. Is the thing.
So
I in no way
that
was I
makes a
saying.
lot of sense here
Yeah.
for Olympics, for the Olympic release there for the Bridgestone. Makes a lot of sense.
Super high quality brand. That was actually the issue. Wasn't the quality? It was almost that the bikes were too good, Nathan, because Miatas and Fujis and Bridgestones. It had a lot more to do with the yen and dollar exchange rate, where the bikes just were economically too expensive to bring into the U.S. If that makes sense.
This
Never a problem with
five-man
quality.
group. Look at this. Out to 14 now. They are walking away. This is game over. And they have absolutely 190 beats. This is what it looks like.
They're
My
earning
goodness here. 192 beats per minute here coming in from the man right now, Adam Zimmerman, as he follows the wheel of Abrantes and Diavola. It's all together. The Bike Zone rider, though, off the back now at this point. So it's going to be 4 up. Bike Zone going backward. No, maybe going to get back on terms. He's got to do it now. One last kick to the line here. Zim now here hanging on at 189. Is he going to? I think he's going to use that feather power up, though, to get over the top here. I would want a arrow to the line here. Maybe even grab an anvil over the top. We'll see what he ends up doing here for this last little kick. As I'm not sure he needs it, as he's down to 184, 185. But we're not really seeing too much of a battle between the riders. I mean, too much of a kick for the line here just yet. There's an arrow, though. I spoke a little too soon. And
the feather right now is obviously what you want. But yeah, and that arrow helmet isn't going to do you much good right now. It would in the sprint. And conversely, the feather is tremendous to have right now, but not much of an effect on the sprint. But it's certainly better than an anvil, which is almost useless to a rider at this point here if you've made this front group. Gap holding on at 19 seconds now, Nathan. So I agree with you that they're not coming back. Also, it's worth factoring in that the chase group is not that much larger than the front group. They don't have any huge advantage on this downhill sector here. So things looking really good for our front riders. And I got to say, Abrantes has got to be licking his lips now as things looking better and better for the Portuguese rider. He can make a whopping 13.8 watts per kilo for 15 seconds. So that's a serious kick.
Yeah, that's a great point, actually. Diavola, though, at 14.9. So, I mean,
even more serious.
Zim's got a 16.5. I mean,
these guys can all sprint. They really can.
This is going to be
Zim at 16.5. Holy cow.
Yeah, so this is going to be interesting this is anybody's race between these three. FA may come back, but I think it's really going to be up between these three to the line. As Zimmerman, him and Diavola are the more experienced in my opinion, but Abrantes, might just be really, really hungry.
So
when it comes to all this,
let me add
being
this
a newer team.
I agree, Nathan, but I'm going to say that experience in the sprint that we have on the Apple lap is paramount, because what we've seen, a lot of riders going too early out here. So getting the timing right, especially in a small group like this, will be the difference. Advantage goes to Zimmerman in that case.
Yeah, 100%. I think Zimmerman definitely has the experience. He's won on this time and time again. Diavola, though, also very, very experienced. KG rider. He knows how to time things, and I would not be surprised if we saw an early attack, actually, from Diavola quite a few times. These two have gone head-to-head plenty. So I want to take a look here also at some information between them. I mean, if we look at the three riders when it comes to rankings, when it comes to how many races they have underneath their belt, I mean, 380 races for Diavola. We've got 498 races for Adam Zimmerman. So, a pretty big.
How about Abrantes, Nathan?
Abrantes is at 330 races. So they all have a pretty good.
They all have a lot of experience.
Currently, race rankings, we're looking at 76th in the world for Miguel Abrantes. We're looking at 127th in the world for Diavola. And then for Zimmerman, currently sitting in 82nd. So this is an important race actually for these riders as well when it comes to rankings. If anybody beating each other here at this point, at this kind of level, because the rankings are so high between them, is going to be a big jump, is going to be a pretty good jump in points between them. So this is important, not just for today. This is also important for their rankings on Zwift Power.
That's a very good point you make, Nathan, in that these wins are judged, a lot of it is on the quality of the competition. And when these guys look around and see they're in a group with a bunch of other top 100 riders in the world, this is where you make some real differences. So excellent point there. But for all of these guys, this win has a little extra value to it, little hot sauce.
Definitely. And now we should be coming. Did they already go through the little sprint point? And they just ignored it, didn't they? A little bit. Or are they about to hit
They don't
here?
care.
They didn't even care.
In all honesty, for these guys, they're so all in for the win that those points don't really make any difference to them right now.
Oh, look, they're in sight. They're in sight, Dave. This might be coming back here as London Phoenix.
12 seconds? It's possible. I mean, again, my money's on this group, Nathan, but better
are they going
not
to work
play
together?
around.
I mean, there's only 3 riders. I mean, that's a difficult spot you got yourself into, right? Because if they start looking at each other going, well, are you going to go? Am I going to go? They're going to waste some effort here. Diavola now 6'8", 7 almost on the front here. So I think they're going to stay away. But how much is he wasting here to do this as Zim sits in and Zim's got the 16.5. Wow.
Nathan, this is huge because what happens now is that dynamic of, look, I'm going to take a pull and trust that you guys are going to come through. And if you don't, that's my last pull. I'm sitting on this group and we can all go back to the big group if you want. And
we've got Zim. Are you going to do something? Look at that. Oh, man.
Love it. That's racing, baby. Absolutely. And all of these guys then just said, okay, look, I don't want to take my chances going back to that big group, and that's going to be Zimmerman up on the front. So Adam Zimmerman rolling through Davolo's second wheel, and now that's going to be Abrante's third wheel. These guys have made a commitment. They are now starting to open the gap back up. So, Nathan, they're not coming back as they lift up the speed. They're down to 4K to go. 4K of racing remaining here for our front group. And again, this is Rui Miguel Abrantes is the rider on the front, the Portuguese rider. Davola on the front, Abrantes second wheel, and then third wheel in the blue kit is Adam Zimmerman. That's your gold, silver, and bronze on the road right now. They're
Zimmerman
not coming
said he was
back,
dying.
Nathan.
Zimmerman said he was dying here. I wonder what's happening there. Now up in the 5-4. Abrantes now
I know what's happening.
Through.
He's playing head games with them. That's what's happening.
We'll see. We'll see. He tends to be a pretty honest guy. We'll see. That's a good call, though, perhaps. We'll see how this ends up playing. Now it's backed all. Look at this. 2.6, 1.7. I mean, 186 beats per minute still here coming from Diavola now. Man. I mean, this is all cat and mouse right now. Brante is now backing off to 3.6. There's going to be a right-hand turn in just a moment here. You do still see the reservoir on the right-hand side. So now they're going to do this turnaround, and then it will be that final 2K or so. And 19 seconds. It looks like the chase group is not super interested any longer. I think they know it's gone now at this point. Well, 3-3. They're doing 50 kilometers per hour.
They got it down to 11 seconds at one point, but then that just seemed to light a fuse for this front group. And at this point now, as they're at 3K to go, I can't see any path for the catch to be made. So again, Abrantes, Evola, everybody's rolling through at this point, and Zimmerman, the rider sitting tagged on the back. In the blue kit, but certainly looks like we've got a 3-rider sprint here. They make that right-hand turn, honing in on the finish line now.
Abrantes and Evola still doing the brunt of the work, it looks like here. I think actually Abrantes has been doing a lot of it here, up in this 390 watts for a moment.
This
here.
is Zimmerman's experience.
6.5. Zim sitting in
honestly,
now, as you can see.
Adam is helping them right now finish what's on their plate before he starts into his main course. This is a bike racing clinic from Zimmerman here.
Ooh.
See how he doesn't, he knows go just hard enough, but I don't think he's going to take any big pulls now.
Look, it's
Just
down to
keeping it
171
rolling.
already. He's already we know he beats
See, he's
the
been able to
190.
chill his jets. Yeah, right. This is like a race F1 driver cooling his brakes.
182, 180.
Yeah.
Look at Zim, 177 now. A little bit of a kick here. Now backing off the 1.5. He's playing it so smart, actually, here. Watch out for
2K
Zimmerman.
to go.
Now they're backing off. 19 seconds back to the pack on the chase. They're not super interested. It looks like it's 1.7 in the front, so they're just watching each other.
I expect, Nathan, that the pack will be at less than 10 seconds when they sprint here. So these guys have built up the buffer that they need, that now these very savvy cats here in this front group are going to try to deploy their tactical, their execution to try to win this bike race. But Adam Zimmerman is just playing his cards perfectly right now.
Zim's got the perfect power up. I'm not going to announce it on stream right now, but he is really, watch out.
He's got it all where he wants it.
A little bit of a kick here. Now 10 watts per kilogram. Davolo wants to go early here. He's not playing games anymore. Oh, nope. It was actually just following. Zim's baiting things out here at this point a little bit here. Now Abrantes to the front. These orange numbers, these little kicks, people get nervous. Now here comes Pinto, though. They're onto this little bit of a climb. And now trying to go across. Irvine here, 16 seconds. Now, if they start to keep playing games, this pack is going to start really ramping things up. There's a lot of bodies behind here with a lot of orange numbers to give. 15 seconds might be a little bit too much here, but they're backing off. They're looking at each other. Oh, no. A wink. A wink from Zim. Zim He's just playing with them at this point with the smile face now. Navola now 4-6 on the front. It's 11 seconds. Look at how quickly that came back here, Dave. 9 seconds. They're within sight. They've got to do this.
You know what, Nathan? They're at 1K to go. I feel like Adam Zimmerman is like a cat playing with a wounded bird right now, just batting him around. Okay, they're going to just about make the catch right when Adam starts his sprint. This is a masterpiece. Now, there's two riders, Davola and Abrantes, who are looking upset the apple cart.
I mean, he's got it. Look, he's on the front, in the front now pushing as Zim doesn't even care. I mean, oh my gosh, dude. He just made him do the pulling. He says, fine, I don't care if we're caught. You got to make this work happen here. Bronte's backing off the 2.1. 7 seconds, bike zone. And they're rolling at 50K an hour. They could come so quickly here like a freight train. No, but Zim continues to sit. 1-9. It's 500 meters to the line at this point. Is it going to happen?
Oh, absolutely. It's going to happen because it's like a ticking time bomb. In the next few seconds, this group is going to explode. Adam Zimmerman has just lit the fuse. Here we go.
18 watts per kilogram. Oh my gosh. Goodness. Immediately up into 62 kilometers per hour here, and he is absolutely gone. Abrantes, Davola, not going to make it happen. What a kick from Zimmerman. And you were right. It was a clinic. Zimmerman makes it happen. Across the line, it's going to be Nunez, followed up by F. Cantor.
See how close it was?
Oh, my gosh.
Nope. Nathan, that was, I was saying it would be under 10. It was down to 7 seconds at the finish. So you couldn't have played that one better on either end. Adam Zimmerman was able to get the riders in the breakaway to do a lot of that work to keep them away. And just as they were about to watch the catch being made, he hits out for the win. That was a master class in how you race esports from Adam Zimmerman, the former American champion. I take my hat off to you, sir. That was quite a performance today.
That was super.
That was something.
Amazing.
Yeah. Wow.
Amazing ride there.
I love it.
Zimmerman.
I love esports, man. Those kind of performances make my day.
Amazing ride there from Adam Zim. Let's see if we can get a replay in here for that. For some reason, we're losing a little bit of it here and there. But it was a solid kick coming in from Zim. We can see, I won't get it to the line, but I do have the moment that he went there. And the timing was just so incredibly perfect, actually, when it comes to it. And we saw, I think it was 18 watts per kilogram. We were back with the pack here, as you can see.
They might ask you to turn this video over to the police because Adam Zimmerman just stole a bike race today.
I mean, we saw him within how many seconds? 4 seconds.
Yeah.
Zim kicks. 17. 18-7. Perfect power up, immediate gap. Brontes didn't even have time to respond. It was just game over.
That's us just slamming the sprint. And Nathan, I have to say that, that power up is perfect, but the other guys had one too. So that was just a guy putting it into the gutter out there. This is Louise Gamst, the Danish rider that we're in with us. She's with Liz Van Houweling here, the rider out of Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa in the United States. But I have a feeling that they dropped Sarah Morrison. Nathan, I'm a little surprised.
She's coming. She doesn't have the kick. She does not have the kick. She's just got this high, steady power here. I think Morrison will come back in the last few K here, but they'll be able to kick again, I think, to get rid of her to the line. I think that's what's going on here over and over again.
Very interesting.
Right-hand turn.
Boy, this has been an awesome day of racing. Boy, if Morrison catches them, this will be quite the finale. It's already going to be a great finale. This has been one of the most exciting days I remember in a long time. I'm glad to hear that you and Anna Russell had a good time with the APAC racing, the Australia, the Pacific early start of our day. But wow, Nathan, all 3 races all 6 races that we've been able to cover here today have been incredible. This is the New Zealander, Sarah Morrison. We've been talking about her being a bit of a revelation. You can see she's got the 2 leaders just up the road. The yellow jersey is, that actually would be Van Houweling, isn't it? As Gamst in the Cryo RDT, I should say Toyota Cryo RDT jersey, is there she is on the blue Tron bike. And Liz Van Houweling, I'm going to guess, is a fresh enough Zwifter that she probably hasn't earned a Tron bike yet, because Tron bike was the bike for the day for sure.
You know, me and Anna were a little different opinion on that one. So, yes, it's definitely a good all-arounder. Yeah, but we thought that the kicks were short enough that we would prefer to have the 858 Venge, actually, because the roll is so important into the sprint and the flatter sections. So that was just our take on that. But
I love that conversation. It's so fun. That's why you need Eric and Zwift Insider. As it's look at this. Sarah's going to make the catch, Nathan. Sarah's just up onto their wheels now.
Yeah, and now we do see Van Houweling very early power up, trying to keep Morrison off the wheel.
Not into it. Yeah, no, not a fan of Sarah, apparently. Yeah.
Gamst is making a really smart move here, sitting in, not really getting too worried about it, it looks like. Well, no, 5-4. Maybe she's working together here to keep Sarah off the wheel. They're actually doing it here. They are working together.
I was going to say that she was channeling her inner Adam Zimmerman there, helping other people to do the work that benefits you. But and that's how you do it. That's what bike racing is all about. Mountain bike racing, a little bit different, but road racing, my goodness, that the psychological warfare out here, it's like a chess match on bicycle wheels where there's a bar fight element to it. And that's exactly what we've witnessed in all of our racing out here today. That's going to be Liz Van Houweling here, sitting on the wheel of the Danish rider on Toyota Cryo RDT. That Louise Gamst is one of the big names in the ZRL, and just right behind them is Sarah Morrison out of New Zealand.
I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to hold her off. Maybe here.
They got 1K to go.
5-4 on the front. They're working really well together, actually. They're not infighting. This is like 5-5 on the front. The next one comes through 5-7 here now. Morrison ramping it up, though. This is interesting.
Nathan, if they can share the workload equally here between Van Houweling and Gamst, it benefits them both. If only one rider's doing the work, but either way, Sarah Morrison is relentless. Nathan, this is a real battle of wills going on right now, because these two have been working together. That's going to be Van Houweling coming back through to take her pole. So they're swapping poles, as one would hope they would, doing all they can to hold off the New Zealander, who is just banging on the back door. And they're going to, well, I think that they've done enough at this point that they should be able to do a 2-rider sprint without Sarah mucking up the works. But Sarah,
oh my gosh, it's 1 second, 5-8. Sarah's starting to ramp it up here. She's going to make the catch, but I think it's going to be right before the sprint here. Will they have any sprint left in the legs here? Now 8.4 watts per kilometer. Luis Gamp's going. And here we go. Orange numbers. Van Houweling, though, now 12.3. Gamp's fading at this point. Morrison trying to come across. It came right to the line. Luis Gamp's for second. It looks like Van Houweling's going to take first. Morrison for
big
third.
Win.
Woo!
Big win for Liz Van Houweling there. Not only does she win against a strong group of women, she does it having to use her brain and her body. I tell you what, I have a feeling, Nathan, that was a step forward for Liz Van Houweling in her esports career that will be memorable. Way to go, Liz. Quality win here today.
Yeah, that was a pretty big win there up against Gamps.
Luis Gamps is no joke.
No,
beating Gamps has got to make you feel good.
She put in a huge effort, I think, and I think they really worked well together to hold off Morrison as she was hard charging actually. So I think that was the name of the game for them out there today. All right, let's go ahead and jump on in with the results on the men's side of things here. And I think the women's side, they'll be coming in just a moment here, as it is going to be on the Western Europe. You called it, Dave. He played his cards right. Adam Zimmerman takes it down with the 4808 at 4.3 watts per kilo. Look at the difference here. 4.3. I mean, he really did do a clinic, as you said. That took him to the chalkboard here. Davola now coming on through there for second. That's going to be a good push for Zimmerman's Zwift rankings, I think. I have to take a look and see what kind of level this was, but I have a feeling he's going to get a little bit of a boost there from that result, actually. Abrantes comes on through for third. Nunez for fourth. It's going to be Sprengers there in for fifth. Torre the Vegan in for sixth. Aviles there in seventh. It's going to be Latimer in eighth. Hodvik in ninth. And then Magalhaes coming on through for 10th out of Portugal. I believe the women's results should be just coming on in.
Congratulations, Liz. Liz Van Houweling with what will be a memorable win in her esports career. And Nathan, you can see how efficient she was, just like Adam Zimmerman, at 4.1 watts per kilo. It's all about when you work, not how often you work. And then we've got Luis Gamps taking the silver medal there, the Danish rider, and Sarah Morrison rounding out our top three. We still have other riders finishing out with the women. But that was a really fun day of racing all the way from Eastern to Western Europe. Not one race disappointed. So thanks to all the gladiators of esports for quite a show today on the Apple app. And happy birthday, Charlie. Great course again. This one is one of my new favorites.
Yeah, everything Bagel's absolutely awesome. One of my favorites to race on. Great job to all the racers out there. I do want to give a little bit of a highlight real quickly. Zwift Community Live about to jump over the top of 10,000 subscribers over on YouTube. We're about 8 away, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment, do all the cool things. We're at 9,992 as of right now.
Congrats, Nathan.
So it's a lot of fun.
Do you remember when you hit 100? Can you remember any of those benchmarks?
Recently we focused in on YouTube. Our focus was the Facebook for a really, really long time. We hit, I think, close to 50K on Facebook, and then we moved a lot of our focus over to YouTube. And just this last year, it went from 4,000 to now we're almost at 10. I mean, it's been awesome. It's been awesome growth on YouTube this past year. We really appreciate the YouTube community. Now it's kind of like the Twitch community starting to go, whoa, like that's starting to go up now too. So, I mean, it's a lot of fun all across, and whatever your favorite platform is, we just appreciate all the viewers popping in, but just wanted to mention that for sure that we're right there on the cups to 10K. So help us bump on over the top of that. Zwift Classics, that's going to be number 2. Apple Lap is done next week. Crit City Slam. And we've got some pretty cool historic moment that'll be looked at from Holden, actually, the U.S. National Champion.
I'm a little disappointed in your MySpace presence, to tell you the truth, but congratulations on what you're doing. Does MySpace even exist anymore? I have to wonder.
It does. It actually does. I believe
does
it actually. Yeah. I believe MySpace.
I'll have to go see how old Tom is doing there. So July 27th, a week from today, we'll be back. Crit City Slam. a sprinter's paradise, as they say. Looking forward to that one already.
Crit City features hot laps next week, we're being told by Mr. Martin Carew. So head on over to WTRL.racing, sign up for next week using that AutoCat system. Hit those follow buttons, do all those cool things. We'll be back for the Platinum League in the WTRL TTT on the Thursday. Cape Bates will be where I'm sitting on Tuesday for the Crit City Slam for the New Zealand race. Me and Dave will be back next week as well. Make sure to check out World of Zwift if you haven't done so already. Releases every Monday. As always, everybody, thanks for tuning in and ride on.